Let's get going since we're already running a little late.
Yo,
I don't know whose
we're
fault
here.
that is. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so in our last session, you all continued your adventures through the labyrinthine maze of the Trebane family. Continuing to navigate, eventually you managed to reunite with the rest of your group, Morish, Kieran, and Zale forming the first half, and Katsu and the Punisher forming the second, reuniting in a chamber where they had been recently scorched by lightning. You continued to navigate the maze. You navigated through various dangers, over traps and trials, and various other fucking horrible things, like ghosts that tried to possess you. Katsu, you experienced that firsthand, nearly running into the dungeon headlong, perhaps to be lost forever. Kieran rescued you, however, by knocking you unconscious with an arrow, as he often does. Um, Morris was similarly possessed by another such creature, a swirling shadow monster that draped itself into his body by pouring itself into his orifices and shadow puppeting him. It was rather
Absolutely
unpleasant.
hentai, yes.
Yes, it was pretty gross. It was pretty fucking gross. You may be having nightmares of that for years to come. Or not. I don't know how your psychology works.
Nah, more cap. It's fine.
he's seen some shit.
Yeah,
He's an old elf.
He'll shake it off. He's actually technically considered a young elf still.
Oh, well, oh, interesting.
Until his 300th year.
In any case, surviving that, you all eventually managed to recover the 4 gems from these various altars. The room with the ghost that possessed you had one such gem, as well as the shadow monster. A fire trap that roasted Kieran had a different gem, bright yellow and orange. Eventually, you took all 4 gems to this one room with a mysterious plinth. Mysterious set of plinths, I should say, and you placed all of these gems within these. And this caused... Well, first you decided to rest, hoping to recuperate before advancing further in the dungeon, but you were not given that choice before the lovely voice of one Antoinette Trebane filled your ears, resonating in the room around you, though not from any source in particular. She offered you an alliance. Recognizing your resilience and your grit in making it this far, she figured that you all might manage to make halfway usable assets. She told you that the Empire, the Dendalian Empire, is en route to Shady Creek Run, having seen the turbulence and the instability caused a lot by you all toppling the House of Cards,
What?
disrupting the power balance.
What?
No, I don't. Yeah, no.
What? What are you
Shuffling
talking
glances.
about?
I have no memory of this.
Yeah.
In any case, the Empire is on its way, or so she said, and she has no desire to stick within the bounds of Shady Creek Run, no desire to adhere herself to a family pursuing things she does not give a fuck about. Her only ambition is to prove herself to the Empire so that they might sponsor her and give her a place to create the machines she loves so much. So she offered you a deal. Work with her, help her dismantle the other families of Shady Creek Run, and, well, your interests could be aligned for a time. Without further ado, the 2 doors in that stone room split away, revealing these shining, shimmering portals of light, leading to God knows where. Perhaps shrugging your shoulders, perhaps bracing your weapons, perhaps not giving any fucks at all. You stepped into the light. And you stand, eyes blinking away, sunspots in your vision, before what looks like a very large workshop of some kind. These crystalline vats swirling with these strange liquids, bright green and noxious in color, pipes running up and down the length of the floor, strange metal apparatuses you can't quite discern the natures of, barrels and crates full of various odds and ends, down this long, roughly 60-70 feet length of open workshop floor to 2 staircases on either side of the wall leading up and to an upper level, from an upper level railing, sort of on a balcony. An elven woman, tall, imperious, with fine, smooth features, sharp, cold expression, blue eyes, long blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail going all the way down to her waist, dressed in fine, not robes per se, more like a form-fitting aristocratic jacket, standing with her hands on the railing. Hello, and welcome to my sanctum. I am Antoinette, as some of you may have surmised. I run this operation. I am the de facto leader of all that is left of the Trebayne family. And you are my guests, and I extend to you my hospitality. She snaps her fingers, and in the center of this workshop, a table appears, this sort of round oval table set with many chairs. Sit, rest. You all look like hammered shit. You look like you need it.
I'd like to insight check her.
Yeah.
Make an insight check.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I can get any sort of vibe off of her
Ooh.
whatsoever.
Natural
I'd like
20.
to take a word for it and just put my feet up.
Excellent. Yep. The table is not manifest not far from you, Mr. Punisher. You go to it, and the chairs are very comfy, cushioned just so that your body sort of sinks into them, and it's very nice. It's very pleasant. You can go ahead and regain 1d6 hit points just for sitting in that chair.
Are they magical massage chairs?
They may well be. You'd have to do a roll for that. But first of all, Kieran, with a natural 20 on insight, it's a long way away from this chamber, and you can't quite read out all the nuances of her facial expressions. Normally, is what I would say, but your eyes are sharp as fuck, and you're a sharpshooter. You're used to making out fine details at long distances, and you sort of looking over Antoinette, and not just her face, but her body language too. There is a tension to her, faint but there, and noticing this, you look behind her and you see a giant metal suit of sorts with a popped open hatch. You almost recognize the design. It's somewhat similar to the 8-foot mech suit that Tarn once wore, standing just behind her, and she looks ready for something to happen, but not openly deceitful.
So she's
Katsu-
just tense and on edge, essentially. I know I don't know that as Moorish, but... Yeah.
So, you expecting this to go south or something? It's a rather big combat suit, mind you.
Expecting is not the right word, not what I would use per se,
Anticipating?
but yes, I mean, you all are very capable adventurers. You've come a long way and fought through many evils, terrible things, some of my own design. I know you're capable. I just need to be ready for that. Think nothing of it.
Cool, I'll take a seat at the table.
Hungry? Thirsty? It's been a long day, I know.
I'll
Sorry, is there food on the table, or do we have to, like, manifest food or something?
There is no food on the table.
I'm gonna sit
Is there
down.
cutlery?
Do you wish for there to be cutlery?
Yes.
Okay. Antoinette, perhaps picking up on your desire or whatever need you have, snaps her fingers and unseen servants rush in. None of you can see them unless you have any ability to see magic directly. All you see are these floating plates drifting in from the air, coming down and setting on the table.
there food
Cutlery
on them?
comes first. Not yet. It starts with a basic, sort of aristocratic table setting. They start with plates, table settings such as napkins, utensils, and such. Goblets come down and are filled with water and wine.
Is this like a Beauty and the Beast kind of shit?
Kind of, yeah.
Is there a musical going on?
There's no music going on, but you can ask.
No, a musical, like the Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Don't let me
there's
down
no-
here.
Not yet.
I
Not
did.
yet. Not yet, my friend.
Okay, so what's the offer?
Well, I spoke to you somewhat in the other room, but it is true that it's hard to discuss business when you're not face to face. She snaps her fingers again, and she vanishes from her place at the balcony and appears at the head of the table, before you all, about 10 feet away. It's a long table. And she is sitting, perfectly reclined, leaned back in her chair, hand on her chin. I propose an alliance, as it were. I despise this city and the pretensions of its families. But I cannot go far right now. My hands cannot extend beyond this workshop, and I have very few resources as it is. I suppose this alliance would be one of convenience. You're no friends of the families, are you?
No. No, we are not.
And I have information that might be of use to you all. And surely, if your aim is to disrupt this place, this information would be of use to you. It would serve my interests, surely.
We
So?
don't really have an interest in disrupting anything here. We had goals of our own. They've been accomplished.
Is
Now
that
we're
so?
just here, working
Then why did you
for
come
our
to
own
this
goals
manor?
again. Again, our own goals.
And what are those goals, if you don't mind telling me?
Personally,
I kinda do mind at the moment. I don't really know exactly where we stand. You have a suit of combat armor at the ready in case you get uppity. Let's continue discussing our deal first. Maybe we can come to some sort of arrangement. Maybe.
Does the suit concern you? Do you not like that it's present in this room? We
Well,
can go elsewhere.
It's definitely a threat. Or a threatening object. I've seen
Do
what
you
those
have
things can
one
do.
in a gnome size?
A suit in gnome size? No, I'm afraid I do not, my small friends. But if you truly wish to have one for yourself, I do love to create, you know.
What?
Yes. I
Well-
love dress.
We need bullets. Funnily enough.
She looks over your group. You're carrying one of those pistols, right, Morris?
Yes, sir.
Kieran, do you have the other one?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
think
yeah,
I've
she looks them
order-
over.
No, I have
think-
ruined, sorry.
Ruin,
have
and then
order.
Morris would have order then. Her eyes flit to the pistols at your hips.
Oh,
Ah.
mine's not here. Mine's summoned away.
I see, I see. So
Yeah.
only Kieran has his visible then. But her eyes go to him, and Kieran's been pretty open about speaking so far. And her eyes sort of twinkle a little bit. Tell me, how well would you say you know how to operate those guns you carry?
Fairly well.
Hmm?
What are you
And
getting
yet-
at?
Well, they're such intricate creations, you know. They require a certain special touch. And moreover, maintenance. Do you know how to take care of the guns you carry? Do you know how to supply them? I can provide this for you, this and more. You know.
And what would you gain from that?
Well, I've already mentioned my motives to you. I would like these families disrupted. I wouldn't call it vengeance per se. I have no real attachment to the lives we've lost, the manor burned. But they are in my way, and they would see me killed. So, be an enemy to these factions, and I'll be an ally to you. Bullets are easy enough. If you need them, I can provide them.
Above table, are we telling her about the thing?
Above table, what thing?
The thing that Adrian warned us about.
You're gonna have to
The
completely refresh my
coming
memory. Do I have no
threat.
fucking idea?
Thara's
You
doom.
were told about some impending doom coming.
Yeah, Thara's doom.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we telling?
Up to you. I don't know. I don't think Kieran was there for that.
No, he wasn't.
I don't think I was.
No, it's just me and Katu that were. Sidebar with Katu. Are we telling her about this?
Yeah, I suppose we would, on the basis that, but we don't know what she wants. If she just wants to get out of the city and escape here,
I mean, it's
Then we
all
can do
going to
that
be for
for-
naught, though, if everything goes to shit because of this thing that's coming.
yeah, I mean, she, from what I gather from last week, she wants to spread her automatons across the world, and that could be used against whatever's
Okay. How much does Moorish personally know of this?
So there's what Adrian told you, which was kind of vague and prophecy-like.
Yeah.
As far as you know, there is some kind of quote-unquote wound that is festering within the shielded dome of Malleus Mir,
Okay.
that great shield that surrounds the city. And whatever's in that wound is rotting in such a way that it is
Spreading.
attracting the hunger of Tharazdun. Yes, it's spreading out, it's festering, and Tharazdun, the Chained Oblivion, this sort of world-eating entity that is the only reason it hasn't devoured the prime material plane yet is because through spells and subterfuge, it doesn't actually know that the world exists yet. If it did know that the prime material world existed, it would stop at nothing to see it destroyed and eaten
Okay.
and reduced to nothing. And somehow, through some way, this wound in Malaeus Mir is sort of acting as a beacon to this hungering demonic entity.
Okay. So yeah, I'll start by saying, ask, do you know anything of Thara's Dune?
Her eyes shift, and there's a change in her expression that comes over her. She seemed very almost playful up until now, kind of cat-like in that way. And as you mention Thara's Dune, her eyes go to you, Morris, and they lock on tightly.
Mm.
I'm going to do something real quick. Oh wow. She reads into you, peering into your soul as if to rip right through it, as if to pierce straight through.
Good luck to what she sees. Yeah, cool.
Yes, I know of Thara's Dune. Why do you ask?
In our pursuit of Adrian Lux, I'm assuming you know him as well.
I do.
He mentioned to us in his final moments that it was coming, that there is a wound festering inside of Moles Mir, and your ambitions will be for naught if that continues to grow.
My father was obsessed with that prophecy as well. All because of some writings in some ruin, penned down by some foolish scribe 10,000 years ago or some such. I don't fucking know, and I don't fucking care. It's beyond me. Do you really believe it? Do you think that's true? You think they're not just talking out of their ass?
No, I don't think they're talking out of their ass. I've spoken to things not of this world, and it's definitely within the realm of possibility that this thing exists.
The dying man's last words is seldom a lie.
Yeah.
In any case, it is not my concern right now. Perhaps that may be true. But for the time being, I have more material things to be concerned about. It seems like
if his families became interested in Moles Mir?
Morris, make an insight check real quick.
An insight check. Oh dear.
Mhm.
Hey, finally a good insight roll.
Nice.
There seems to be something weirdly personal about this subject, and she's avoiding it very intently.
I'm gonna pop my Emissary of Peace
Okay.
to get the extra 10, plus 5 to Persuasion.
Okay, real quick, we will circle back to Kieran saying, she crosses her arms, leaning back and away from the group of you all, sort of defensive body posture going on. They have no reason to. My family was all that ever cared about Malaeus Mir and the artifacts. I mean, granted, there's money in the relics that come from Malaeus Mir, and the other families would be interested in that, sure, but every expedition that's ever gone into the city itself has been a failure. They've lost interest, or at least lost hope.
And what's your stake in all of this? There's something you're not saying.
Make a persuasion check as she bristles.
Oh, please. Plus 10, plus 10. That is a 25.
Whoo-wee, goddamn. Fuck, okay. She, again, very intense, very fierce eye contact with you, Morris. Her lips work, but no words come out, and then she closes them, pressing them into a very thin, harsh line. I told you, my stake is to spread my creations across the world. And I would say with your high persuasion check, you can still tell that this is something that there is something she's not telling you, but
It's
you
gonna.
get the sense this
She's
is a subject that no amount of like
yeah,
cajoling
yeah,
is
yeah,
going
yeah.
to.
No, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Okay.
In the background, the Punisher is knocking his hands on the table with his fork and knife in his hands, very hungry and very demanding. And Antoinette, perhaps seeing a chance for a break in the conversation, shifts her attention, snaps her hands, and another set of floating plates come down. Roasted chicken and turkey, whole and stuffed with herbs and spices and cheese, drift down and set themselves on the ground before you. Bowls of soup come in, very delicate smelling soup, perhaps some kind of fish. Salad, honeyed nuts, and other such things come down. It's a very sumptuous meal set before you.
I honestly start devouring it.
Very loudly.
Yes, with my mouth open.
Excellent.
And what about the immediate threat of the Trebanes? There's a reason you're holed up in here and not walking out there.
Jagantoths.
Jagantoths, sorry.
The Jagantoths have numbers right now, and a great deal of them. My people, individually, very strong. Any single one of my spell knights could cut through perhaps half a dozen of theirs, but they would drown me in blood.
Yeah.
So yes, they are a threat, and especially while my people are as scattered as they are.
And what about potential Trebane upstarts? Not really looking to you for leadership, but for themselves.
She sighs, and a little bit of this mask of arrogance comes away a bit, and you see a little bit of the haggard weariness underneath before she shakes her head and recomposes herself. I will be honest with you, my hands cannot reach very far from here. As it is, I have to focus all my efforts on keeping myself and my constituents safe. So, if I may drop the veneer just a little bit, I do need your help. These upstarts will be a problem. They'll gun for my head sooner or later if they realize they have the strength to do it. They alone could penetrate the labyrinth that the Jagantoths cannot. I would ask for your help in dealing with them as well, to either bring them into my folds or destroy them entirely, and I would not leave you without compensation for your labors.
There is one thing that I would request. That rejuvenation chamber. That needs to go.
And why is that exactly?
Because it's abhorrent.
Many things in this world are abhorrent, and many things that are abhorrent are also necessary.
This is one thing that isn't necessary, and one thing that I can change.
How long does your Emissary of Peace last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Go ahead and make another persuasion check for me.
Big money, big money, big money, big money. That is a 27.
Holy fuck,
Jesus
man.
Face of the party.
27,
yeah,
baby.
She drums her fingers on the table, and then, still leaning back, an invisible servant places down a meal before her, and she just pushes it aside. Fine. Fine. My father was the one obsessed with immortality and reigning forever. I am less so. This
Yeah,
can be
we-
done.
It's not
Yeah,
like you're
it
not
was-
going to live for a long time, let's face it.
We gathered he was
We-
the one who was obsessed with reclaiming his
Ha-
parent heritage.
How old is Antoinette? Do I know?
Make a history check. You don't need to roll extremely high for this, but this isn't like common knowledge or anything.
12.
Yeah, you don't know.
Okay.
Judging from her appearance, it's hard to tell with elves.
Yeah.
You yourself are nearly what, like
I'm
nearly 300?
270, I think.
270, yeah. And yourself look fairly young for an
Yeah.
elf, and so does she, and so it's hard to tell.
Okay. But yeah, the point stands. It's not like we're not going to live for a long time.
But, and she looks almost a little bit confused at this. You could make yourselves immortal. You could give yourself hundreds upon hundreds of years of life through that chamber. And the secrets that led to its manufacturing, you'll not find them anywhere else in the world. Are you not interested in that for yourselves?
Me
From what I
personally, no.
gather,
Well,
from what I gather, that chamber sucks the life force out of other beings to give it to you. That's
Abhorrent.
cruel.
I have died,
Unlawful.
and I do not fear it.
Yeah, me too, dude. Don't worry.
Yeah, I can hear you, Dave.
alright, cool. No, I was gonna say Kata's just gonna walk up behind Moorish and kind of stand kind of at his back, to the right, whatever, and just say no.
Very well. If this is conditional for your corporation, it can be done.
It is. Yes. We'll do anything. That's my only condition.
What of the rest of you? What would you require to make this union work?
What is your ambitions with the Twindalian Empire?
They are the single most advanced and organized nation on this continent. They are no empire of Draconia. The technology is a little lax. Guns haven't even propagated themselves over there just yet. But with their resources, and with enough power, if I could be granted a position of influence there, I would have a very sizable base from which to launch my ambitions.
Which are?
To propagate my technology, to see this world revolutionized. My automatons, they are such wonderful, intricate things. The world deserves more of them.
What can your automatons actually do apart from flay a man alive?
I have many designs, the least of which are the combat models which you have faced so far. I have machines that can replicate the efforts of skilled artisans, honing and taking their tens and tens of years of honing their skills and crystallizing it into just one machine. The mastery with which they work, the efficiency. The world will never be the same once I can set my claws into it.
You want to replace hardworking folk with robots?
Hardworking folk get sick, they age, they die. They fail to pass down their skills to a lazier generation. Prosperity breeds nothing but indolence in the young. My machines will last forever, and they will bring a wave of prosperity onto the world. So yes, I do wish to replace hardworking folk, because hardworking folk are worthless in the face
Such as
of
your
steel.
hardworking folk such as yourself included?
Yeah.
She smiles a little bit at that.
It
What
seems very
of
much like you can replace yourself with a robot as well. If
What-
no one is necessary, that includes you.
theoretically, what if the Empire were to take your designs and then turn on you?
She doesn't seem to have an answer for that.
They're not
There's
exactly
a-
known, you know, to be the most upstanding of people.
A lot of skullduggery.
I believe I can take care of myself. But there's almost an uncertainty in her as she says this. And
Even against
again,
the Assembly?
even with your insight relatively, well, the 19 still holds. There is almost a trace of weariness and haggardness, as we said, but maybe just the slightest edge of desperation to her as well.
You can take care of yourself, but yet you're trapped in this manor and this city.
You're asking 5 misfits for help,
And you want to go up against an empire.
or more accurately, beg them for help or a position.
What would this be? You know what? There actually wouldn't be a role involved. There's a long moment as all these words come out and you all speak to her, and she opens her mouth as if to speak, and then closes it again. And then breathes out a long sigh, and her shoulders kind of slump. What else would you have me do? What other options do I have?
Come to Chaos for Karam. We'll get you
Ally
out.
myself with you?
Yeah,
You
but
all?
you already offered us an alliance. We have a base. Deep in the Savalier Wood where people don't come, you'll have as much time and as much whatever you want to work on your machines.
Might I remind you that fort, and I was there, held off the Trebane army.
Yeah, there was, what, eight of us held off an army?
I know, I was on the attacking side.
Yeah.
Scary.
She pauses in consideration. Perhaps. Perhaps. In any case, the Empire is not here yet, and the work in this city is not yet done. We can work together in the interim, and if you would help me, and her expression almost seems to break a little bit as she uses that word, help. Almost as if she realizes it's beneath her, but she doesn't have any choice. If you're willing to help me, and to do this work, perhaps there might be wisdom in what you say.
Okay, so the immediate problem is getting you out of here. And yes, can I tell if she's being honest? Or does my 19 still hold?
Yeah, can I also make an insight on that?
Yeah, go ahead, both of you.
Since I fucked it.
Hmm,
That's a dirty 20.
that is a dirty
Nice.
20. Nice. You've been able to keep a pretty good read on her this whole time, Morish. Fairly tuned in a way that you kind of rarely are.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the shared blood, perhaps it's the tenseness of the situation. There is no deception to her per se. You get the sense she's holding a lot of her cards very close to her chest. You do get the sense that she is playing into a bit of a facade. You get the sense that this is a very intelligent and calculating person who knows how to understand moods and emotions and how to use them to her own advantage. And you get the sense there may be some slight manipulation going on, but she's not lying to you. She's more like playing into her own image of weakness, so to speak, in a almost like a, not quite a ploy, but like a subtle, I need help, and maybe you would be willing to give that to me kind of
She's
way.
leaning into being a damsel in distress, essentially.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So there is a bit of calculation to her, but you don't get the sense she's going to betray you or anything.
In the immediate future.
In the immediate future,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, look, there's, what, a lot of them in the manor? I'm gathering I saw many guards when we were
Oh
there.
yes, with keen mind, I know exactly how many guards are in that manor.
Or at least how many Kierans.
Exactly, no, but you do remember seeing, just from the front, sort of the way from the front gate to the entrance in the foyer, and then down into the inner sanctums, just that sort of like frontal area, you gathered there were maybe 3 dozen. They were
Okay.
fucking swarming. No, most of them not on active guard. Mostly you saw a lot of guards sort of like
And they've, like, taken up residence.
taking their breaks, resting,
No, basically.
eating or drinking. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Do you have eyes on the manor?
Yes, I do. Arcane eyes set all throughout. I can keep track of just about everything that goes on in there, including hearing conversations and such, but I have no way of reaching in.
Above table, what are we thinking? Are we trying to get her out, or?
Hmm.
Aside from the, so Antoinette, aside from the rejuvenation chamber, what else does this inner sanctum hold of value?
Oh, it depends on what you're looking for. There
Give me a
are
list.
A list. The halfling wants a list. Very well, the halfling will get a list. There are numerous rune binding chambers, which. And she looks to the scar on your hand where the glyph mark once was, which I believe you became acquainted with once upon a time. These are probably some of our most valuable treasures. Um, there are numerous arcane artifacts, not just in armories and such, but adorning the walls, built into the structure. The very house is nearly its own living organism in its way, an organism which I have hold the reins of. And not to mention the libraries, the inner sanctums full of countless millennia of stored wisdom.
Okay, and if you were to leave this inner sanctum, would your maze still hold true? Because if the Jagantoths get in here, they're gonna get all that information, all that knowledge, and all these artifacts.
Yes, that's the problem. I need to maintain direct control over my defenses. It is why I have not left.
Why is it that time passes so quickly in that maze?
It's
On the
a way
outside, I
of.
mean.
Well, when you're inside the maze, time goes by much more quickly relative to the outside worlds, and you could call it an added deterrent. If an invader were to come in and somehow manage to escape, only to realize that 10 whole days have passed in the outside world, perhaps they might think twice about mustering another force to venture in a second time.
Is that effect still happening here?
No. Right now we are in the prime material plane. The same dimension you started in.
So do you have a back door?
Well, yes, I can teleport you all. There's no direct access that won't bring you back into the maze, but I can get you out.
So if we tried to come back, we'd have to go through the maze. Or would you be
Assuming
able
this-
to let us back in through the...
Yes, assuming this alliance works out and our interests do remain one and the same, I could give you tokens which would allow you to bypass the labyrinth.
Okay. So we need to... What do we need to do then? Is there anywhere we can talk alone?
Yes, yes, that can be arranged.
Without arcane eyes watching us?
You trust me so little.
Hmm.
Smart. She stands up and snaps her fingers, and the table and the chairs disappear.
Along with
A
Ish's
mo-
food.
Along with Ish's food. You have a moment to stand so you're not dropped on your asses in an undignified fashion. But
Yeah.
your food is gone, Ish. The half-eaten chicken wing in your hand disappearing in a puff of mist.
Ish is not happy.
Your belly still feels full, though. Assuming you managed to eat your fill, which actually you probably didn't. But she waves a hand, follow me, and leads you on out of the workshop. Going up the stairs, you pass by a couple of Trebane spell knights, familiar to you in their runic armor and greatswords slung over their backs. They look at you, but they don't present any hostility. You pass by a Trebane mage, a young elf with a red-tipped wand at their side, the runes of an elementalist marking their clothing, fiery patterns scrawled across their intricate robes. And you also pass by a couple of automatons, much more lithe and quick than the man-catchers you dealt with in the maze. Very nimble looking. And you pass all these by and you leave the confines of the workshop, and eventually you find yourselves, after navigating down long hallways, lit with magic torches that cast this bluish purple glow, and you enter into a library, a little private library, about 4 bookshelves, 2 in the center, 2 on the walls, and a little like a sitting table at the far end with a glass window looking out, not into the outside world, but into this sort of magic illusion, creating a moving tapestry of the astral sea. And you all sit down. This space is private. Cast your spells if you like. There are no arcane eyes watching. Nothing to pry upon us.
I would like to immediately look for anything fucky.
Make a perception check.
Not even gonna wait till she leaves.
What specific kind of fucky are you looking for?
You know, anything that can watch us, listen to us, trap us, hurt us.
You don't see anything of that nature, but your perception, good as it is, doesn't let you see magic. So while you're fairly confident that there's no physical means of surveillance or traps or trickery around, you don't know if that extends to magic.
Are you railroading my perception?
No, I'm telling you exactly what you see.
He is, motherfucker!
I don't even know what you mean.
Have you got detect magic, Zale?
I do not.
Well, if then I don't have any spells.
I can see the suspicion in you, and I can tell you want to do something. Are you a little tapped? A little dry?
A little bit.
She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small gem, kind of similar to the Sapphire of Wondrous Power which you once held, which thrums with this arcane light. She rolls it across the table. A very small gem, maybe the size of a thumb, oval in shape.
I will crush it.
And you gain 1 regained spell slot.
Woo! I will cast detect magic.
The magic goes up, and you do detect a strong, well, not a strong flare, but a flare of magic from the illusion on the wall, which is enchantment, obviously.
Yeah.
It's an illusion. You detect a faint aura of magic from the furniture, abjuration, in the sense that they are enchanted to prevent them from being damaged or worn.
Okay.
But other than that, well, a few of the tomes on the bookshelves glow with a faint magic as well, and you get the sense that they have arcane knowledge within them, perhaps spells that could be almost used as scrolls if you ripped out the pages or copied. But you don't detect anything that would be designed to survey on you, and no dangerous traps.
Okay. Say to the party, it seems clear in here. Antoinette, before you leave, am I allowed to look at any of these books?
Yes, you're allowed to look.
I won't
but-
take. Don't worry. Just peruse.
Alright. Yes, I should warn you, if you do take anything, it will not end well for you.
That's fine.
And I don't mean that in a, oh, I'll come and get you and hurt you kind of way. I simply mean that they are trapped and will do a lot of physical harm to you.
Okay.
So just as a warning.
Yes. No worries.
Alright. Anything else that you need from me before I venture on my merry way?
I don't believe so.
Dessert.
She actually smiles at that, and a little chuckle. Very well. I'll summon a servant. And then she leaves, and you are left alone in this space.
What are we thinking?
I don't know
Oh,
about
it's ice cream.
I hope it's ice cream as well.
what kind do you want.
What flavour?
Chocolates.
Ah, good choice.
What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor?
So,
Okay, well now we know if chocolate comes in, it's tapped. Anyway,
so what are we thinking?
you want to take it? You want to take it a case for Karn already?
I mean,
I don't know about that. I'm happy for it just to stay in here for a bit, honestly.
well, I mean, not straight away. If she leaves, the Jagantoffs are gonna get in, and that's not happening.
Speaking of the Jagantots, if we come out,
Well, she said she can teleport us, so I'm assuming
Yes,
she can
but-
teleport us outside of the manor,
Why doesn't
Okay.
she just report herself?
because the defenses will drop and they'll get access to the inner sanctums and stuff.
yeah, she needs direct control.
She'll just get all her stuff out.
I mean,
Well, I
I
mean-
imagine the like getting a rune chamber out would be, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
It's
technology.
impossible.
Teleporting an entire building, essentially.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
what-
all these chambers, I've seen them. They're connected to the manor. Getting them out is not possible without a lot of effort.
Kind of, just wondering, is she planning on staying here then? Did I misinterpret that entirely?
No, I just don't think she wants the Jagantoffs to get the stuff that's in
Okay,
the
so
manor.
yeah, so there's a lot of treasures and a lot of artifacts and a lot of hidden knowledge that the Trebanes don't want anybody else getting. If she drops those defenses, the Dragontoss will get in, kill her comrades, and get all the information and artifacts. Which is why she has the maze, but she can't leave, otherwise it'll drop and they'll get in.
And
Okay.
the plan was to take out the crime families anyway.
That's right.
So,
This just speeds it up.
kind
But
of.
she's gonna go.
If we can get out and draw the Jagantoths away from the manor,
Okay, but then
and
you have the Empire coming in and they're gonna make this town
I mean,
their little piggy to fuck.
where's the closest Empire town? Would I know in my years of travel?
Uh,
I think I would know.
yeah, I
as
mean
well,
that wouldn't even require a roll. But I just have
Yeah.
to look at a map real quick.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
cool.
It would be Rexentrum, wouldn't it, or Blumenthal,
I think it's a little bit to
actually,
the right.
or is it
I
Novgorod?
think. Yeah, Shady Creek Run is fairly far up north. Let me just find a map of Wildmount, and I will tell you.
Pretty sure it's either Novgorod or Rexentrum.
Come on, how do I zoom? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's Novgorod, right?
Yeah, Shady Creek Run. Yeah, Novgorod would be indeed very close.
Okay.
I mean, like, what valuable resources does Shady Creek actually have apart from crime?
The access to the Savalier Wood.
Okay, so... Oof.
The Empire's ambitions are large.
Yes, they are. Trust me, I'm well aware of that.
Yeah, so
Um,
they I would not put it past them to then travel into those woods and possibly find Chaos Vicarum.
Unless, well, I mean, they probably already know about Case Vicarum.
Well,
like,
yeah, but they
yeah,
a
probably
lot of
don't.
There's-
elves from Case Vicarum
Uh,
are now reside in the Empire.
Is it
There is no. Oh, sorry.
No, go on, D.
I was actually just.
Anyway, so
like-
okay.
There is no indication Adrian's ambitions stopped merely with him. He would likely have informed his superiors or someone of Chaos Vicarum
Well, did he
and
go
his
there?
impending access. Well, he was already going to summon the army, wasn't he? So I'm imagining they were lying in wait for him to signal, but someone would have known.
Well, yeah, but that was more they were going to Molesmere, rather not Chaos Vicarum in that case.
If I am honest, I do not know what we should do. Every action we take seems to further the machinations of several tyrants, and no matter what we do, we are surrounded on all sides by enemies.
Well, the Empire is not actually an enemy to us.
I see nothing
I
but
don't even
dead
think
men.
They probably don't even know about us, honestly. Fuck.
Don't
who's
you
the
know who
main-
I am?
Yeah.
So sorry, Verb. The ruler. I forget his first name. Dwindle. Or Dwindle. However you pronounce
Bertrand
it.
Dwindle.
Thanks.
Bertrand
Is he
Dwindle.
like? Is he a tyrant or is he like a good lawful ruler? Would we know?
Make a history check.
Can I also make one?
And yeah, go ahead. And the roll's not super high on this. It's just to see the depth of your knowledge. Which
16.
Kieran does not. In broad strokes, Kieran, you know that King Bertrand Dwindle is not egregiously a tyrant, as far as you know. He is a very stern and authoritative man, and he
Mhm.
believes strongly in his own power. But as far as you know, he's not like cruel to the people. And as far as you know, Moorish, for one reason or another, you know that King Bertrand Dwindle, while outwardly very authoritarian and very strong, a very strong centralized power, you actually know, well, maybe not know, but suspect that he dances on the strings of the Cerberus Assembly.
So they pull that he's a puppet king.
Not quite, yeah, pretty much. To one extent or another, you don't know how deeply that puppetry goes, but
But
they
the
are
Cerberus Assembly
ultimately
definitely
the
have
prime power.
definitely have hold the majority of the sway within the empire, essentially.
Pretty much.
Okay. So
Okay, so then they would definitely.
then they would definitely know,
want
because
going to.
if the Cerberus Assembly know, that means Kildor has told them stuff, and he's been to Chaos Vicarum, so they definitely know about it. And they literally sent him there.
Gildor?
Kildor, Vox's guest character,
Oh,
the wizard.
right.
The Mad Wizard.
I forgot about him.
He turned into a level 11
My
wizard.
fire!
Yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
So
Was Adrian also from the Assembly? Or was he
Mhm.
sent by the Assembly? Was he on the Assembly?
it was his own mission, wasn't it? He was allowed free reign, if memory serves.
He was a mage of the Assembly. As far as you know, he wasn't super high ranking or anything, other than the fact that he was one of their very capable operatives.
Okay, gotcha. He's like a commissar.
Yeah, you can think of it that way.
D, I don't know. Ask Verb.
Exchanging messages behind my back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Always.
do we know if Antoinette's made contact with the Empire?
You do not know.
Yeah, because like she had the Empire come in and she's got this plan, but she actually, she never mentioned she's established contact with anyone to be like, want to take me and my automatons. She's banking on this as a way to get out.
Yo, that's why we called her out, because it's very much like, it's a very moving parts kind of plan. Like,
She
hey,
did-
I got these things, I'll get on the assembly. Oh, wait, I don't actually have a plan.
I will say,
They might-
I had
yeah,
a pretty
I'm sorry.
good read on her throughout that conversation, and she was definitely leaning into the damsel in distress a little bit.
The Empire could very well just rock up and absolutely rock her shit along with the entire town.
And
Oh,
just take her,
100%.
and just take her
I suspect they
designs.
will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what empires do,
and that's what the assembly would
Five
probably
of us.
do, I imagine.
I think the five of us.
Well,
get them.
I don't know if you guys heard of Vice's title, but the Empire basically rocked up and said, submit or we'll fuck your shit.
Isis Till is the city. It's a city now incorporated into the Empire that is primarily elven, primarily composed of survivors from Malaismere who fled after the city was sundered.
Okay.
So it's very likely it was very likely they'll come and do the same here.
We could talk to Antoinette about that and be like, do you have guarantees from the Empire? Do you really think they're going to
Yeah,
take
we
you
definitely
in?
need to ask her some
We
more stuff, but we need to
could-
decide what we want to do. Are we helping her or are we not
Let's-
helping her?
Let's also
We
keep in
could-
mind, let's
sorry.
also just really quickly want to add this. The Empire rocks up, they're gonna find Case for Karin and they're gonna want that as a staging point.
Of course they are. So we need to have something to give them so we get to keep it.
What to say they won't just take that as well? They have the power to.
Yeah.
And at which point we're not going to be able to stop them anyway. So the best option is some form of trade.
Yeah.
We could potentially put the paranoia of the Empire into Antoinette and then further our alliance with Antoinette to fight off the Empire. And no, she won't want to do that. I don't know.
She won't want to
There are- there are
That'll
so-
take a lot of convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
but you just need to convince her, be like, do you, like, we're offering you a deal here now, a guarantee of safety, and you're like, do you really want to risk the Empire? And then just be like, there are all these moving parts, all these higher ups, they'll want your automatons, they'll... I don't know how you want to play it. There are
I
literally
agree with you, Zale, on that.
so many, there are so many moving parts to all of this. It is utterly insane.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can tell.
And we
she's
have-
asking us for help.
And so if
Yeah.
we can if we can get everyone in one place, pool our resources and come up with a plan.
All Antoinette wants to do, if you take her for a word, is see her automatons spread. She helps us take Shady Creek. We can let her build her automatons here. This can be her bastion that she can work from and just do what she wishes. She doesn't want to rule. She just wants to tinker.
And she wants to be
Mhm.
and she wants to see her invention spread, which they
We,
will.
if we can put into her head that she can be the brains and we can be the brawn, we can literally just clear the town out. And then, like, I don't know, you got to put the paranoia of the Empire into Antoinette so deep that she's like,
I think we've already
these guys are here
started that.
now.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it seems very much like she doesn't have a plan. She just wants to use the Empire as a catalyst for her automatons.
Whereas
But how she gets there, it's not. It's step 1, step 2, step 3 question mark, step 4 profit.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, in the days to come, having an army of automatons at our back might not necessarily be a bad thing.
I also agree with that.
The smaller evils,
Lesser evils.
whatever, you know what I mean.
Katu,
I was going,
what say you?
I think we're getting way too far ahead of ourselves.
I mean, for
Um,
the immediate thing, what do you think we should do?
future, we get her out, get
Well,
ourselves out, and then
I-
if we need to do it later, we can.
she needs to stay in.
I would prefer she stays in the sanctum for the time being, so we know where she is. She can't leave it.
Oh, you get out. Just
So
Yeah, we
well,
can get
here's-
out.
We can get out, but here's the thing. Let's figure out what she actually wants us to do. Maybe gain her trust, get some tokens to come back and forth easily.
Yeah.
I think for the moment, I don't really want to tangle with any of the families, especially the Jagantoths. They're quite powerful now, from what you've done.
Whoopsie.
Oh, look, we're we're never going to be in the Mardoon's good books. We were going to go against the Jagantos anyway because we need to fuck the Iron Shepherds up.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. We just maybe
Okay,
have
well-
another ally that we can draw
Okay,
upon.
well, then I don't see much of a difference from when we first started. We still have the backing of the Trebanes, so to speak.
As it were.
And we can just treat the Jagantoths like we treated the Mardoons.
Okay, so how do we now deal with the Jagantoths once we leave here? Do we hit one of their places?
We'll consult with Antoinette and see what resources she can offer us. While also
And maybe
Okay.
she's gonna
we
leave as
should-
well.
Yeah, okay.
we should talk to her about the Empire as well.
Ish, how's your ice cream?
Melting.
You should
Is it-
really eat that faster instead of just licking it seductively.
Is it chocolate? It's chocolate, right?
Yes.
Big.
Should have asked for a flake.
They tapped the room. We've been compromised.
You watch as 6 SWAT officers break into the room with M16.
Get on the ground!
Whoa, look at these things. Jesus Christ.
Where's the
Tremaine
hard drives?
artificer.
Where's the hard drives? Just Punisher drops his ice cream and like bolts out of a window.
the window, yeah.
What window?
Pepper box feet like flying. Let's go. Okay,
Damn.
so we speak to her about what she has to offer.
Can we call her back, or should we just leave the
I
room?
think
I don't
we
know how
should.
this works.
Should we go back to her?
Can we kick about for a little bit?
Think about.
Just chill out for a bit.
You want to take like a short rest or something?
If that's okay. Now that we're back in the real world, it's only an hour.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah,
We will jerk off for an hour and then we'll
Um,
come out.
Would I be
it's a
able
lot
to?
of jerking off, man.
Would I be able
Hey,
to
man,
use
I-
that time peruse
Smoke-
through
smoke
some
break.
books?
It's called edging, verb.
You're too young to understand what that is, Bert, but it's okay. You'll
Wow.
learn.
Wow. All right, the disrespect. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to take a short rest, that is possible.
Would I be
I mean,
able to
that is-
look
that's
through any
doable.
books while I'm?
You
He
can
can
certainly
look at
through
them.
the
He
books.
just doesn't.
I just
have-
can't
as
take
long as he
them.
doesn't-
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't take them.
Like, well, I assume when I said that, I meant like I can look through, like, as in read
Yes.
some of them.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of books do you want to focus on?
Anything to do with Lord Darko's spellbook that I can find.
Ah. Okay. Make an investigation check for me if you're looking through this library.
Sure thing.
Once he's done, I also like to look through and find something.
That is a dirty 20.
Damn, man. Wow.
No
Had
shit.
really good luck on that shit so far.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, looking through, Morris, you're no wizard. You're
No.
not like an arcane practitioner of any means. Most of your magic was granted to you. All of your magic, just about, is granted to you by an external source. So your internal understanding of arcane runes and such is a little bit limited. But with that said, having been an adventurer as long as you have been, and having been through all these fights, you've gained a little bit more understanding of the tides of magic that flow and recede within you. And you can tell that Darko's spellbook is warded off by very intricate arcane equations and rituals, not rituals, arcane runes and such, that are obviously Trebane glyph marks in design. Kieran would have actually a little bit more familiarity with that, a little more intimately, as he was branded with one. You don't find any specific means of dismantling the runes per se, certainly not within this library.
No.
You get the sense from your investigations that this kind of knowledge would exist somewhere in the sanctum, probably heavily, deeply guarded. You might have better luck in like Darko's private study or something.
Okay.
These runes are very personalized to this particular book. They're not standardized in any way. But basically, in so many words, the key to finding, to unlocking that spell book is here, just not in this room.
Sure. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, let me write that all down.
Speaking of those runes, I was wondering, are there any books on those runes? The marks that Kieran had?
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check. You find sort of like academic essay kind of things that are like dissertations on the nature of arcane equations and the various means and methods of using them, etc., etc. Nothing that is directly applicable. It's all very dry academic reading.
Okay.
At least nothing that you
Gotcha.
understand well enough to use it.
Fair enough.
Because you don't have a wizard in your party, motherfuckers.
No.
Uh-huh. We all have spells.
Yeah.
This is true. Except, even Katsu has spells now. Yeah.
Okay. Can we take short rests?
I would say in this time, if you all want to take a short rest, that is perfectly doable. Just taking a moment to breathe after so much fighting through that labyrinth, exploring, tension, all of it slowly coming away, and just a little bit of a chance to relax.
Ah. Better.
Are we gonna keep looking at books, or are we gonna go back to Antoinette?
I mean, I'm gonna go back to Antoinette. I was just doing it in the hour, like, that we were resting, to see if I could learn anything, basically.
So, what's our angle? Do we?
Angle is ask her what resources she has, what she like, the immediate plan of getting her out of here with her knowledge, essentially, without the Jagantoths getting access to it. How she can help us in doing that, and whether or not she's actually made contact with the Empire. Anything else?
I mean, we can definitely talk to her about what her plan of action is. I'm fairly certain she's not going to want to leave the sanctum yet.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, how do we
Mm.
work towards getting her out of here without the Jagantoths getting in, or at least getting them away from here so we can set up here or something?
To be honest, I don't really want her to leave this sanctum until we suss her out a bit more.
Yeah,
She seems very shifty.
She's desperate. She's not shifty.
she's
got
she's
nowhere else
not.
to go.
She's not lying to us at the moment, from what
Well,
I
you
can
know,
tell.
you know what they say about back against the wall.
Yeah, I'm the most dangerous. Okay. I'm gonna head back in.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow him.
Stepping out of the door, it opens up, and this slight ping resonates out through the wall, through the corridor, I should say. Similar to the alarm sound that you heard in the labyrinth sale when you stepped on it 5 times in a row and then got bodied by a fucking
Whoopsie.
automaton. But
Jeez.
From
it's
a
just a
big
little
nat
bit of a
20.
sound, and it rings out. And after a couple of moments, not Antoinette herself, but a young Trebane, sort of like handmaid, young woman comes out. Elven, obviously, they're all elves here, with sort of light brown hair, and she leads you on down the way, and eventually you come to another sort of open space. Not Antoinette's workshop, more like a not a dining room either. It's more like just a sitting room, and she's there. She's got a cigar in hand, tapping it out on an ashtray, looking out through another illusory window. This one depicting the plane of fire, casting her face in harsh orange lighting as she turns back to look at you all. Done convening, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what conclusions have we come to, my friends?
Well, we've come to the conclusion that you don't really have a plan to contact the Empire, unless we're wrong.
She taps out her cigar one more time, then takes one last drag on it, filling her lungs, and blows it out in a puff of smoke. Sets the thing down, lightly smoldering in its tray. You're right. You're right. I don't have a plan, and to be quite frank, I'm just a little bit desperate. It's been a long few days, this siege. Very taxing on the mind.
Okay.
With that said, I don't have any other plans, nothing better that I can do. So I'm still asking for your help in much the same conditions, and you can worry, or you can let me worry, about whether or not my plan will succeed. How does that sound?
I mean, if you want to do the worrying, that's fine by me. Yeah, sure.
Okay. What resources do you have available to you outside of this manor?
Nothing that I can trust at the moment. There are a few scattered cadres of Trebane mages hiding out in various holes, but while I can maintain contact with them through magic, I have no means of trusting them. I have no control over them. My father held the reins on their glyph marks once, but my father is dead now. Many of them say that they are willing to help, but how am I to judge whether or not they're lying to me?
Then what about inside the manor? What do you have?
That we could
Inside
take
the
with
manor?
us?
Ah, well, depends on what you need.
Well, let's start with what you actually
Weaponry.
have.
Alright. Well, do you want a full list?
Oh, I'm sure you've got some interesting stuff. Give us the more rare items, let's say, or things.
I need to
That
go
you're
AFK for a bit.
Okay.
Cool.
making things incredibly intricately better than any artificer out there. Surely you have some stuff stashed away.
I have a few implements, yes. If it's weaponry you're looking for, firearms have always been my specialty. And I have some interesting pieces that might be of use to you. Rifles, repeaters, of all sizes and shapes, really. I can hear Dave okay. I mean, maybe he's a little bit
I've got him
quiet.
to like 200% and I can barely really hear him.
He's a tad
Huh.
quiet, yeah.
A little quiet on my end, but nothing too major.
I can hear him, it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just turn my volume up. Maybe that's so. Keep going. Sorry.
Um, Truth be told, I am a little loath to depart with too many of my items right now while the manor is in such jeopardy. They haven't circumvented the labyrinth yet, but they may come a time when they will, and I'll need all I can spare for that. But you do need help out there. You need what resources I can spare, and I'm not going to be pinching my pennies in this situation. Potions, easily done. I can provide at least half a dozen regular ones, perhaps a couple more of the rare varieties. I have more interesting concoctions too that you may find some interest in. And she reaches into, well, she doesn't reach into anything. She just sort of holds her hand out into the air, and then this small black pocket of empty space appears around her palm, which she reaches into, a pocket dimension that she's opened up, and she pulls out a flask of this sort of bright green liquid. This may sound a little bit strange, and perhaps a little counterintuitive, but I like it a lot. I invented it myself. When you drink it, it turns your blood to acid. It doesn't harm you, though. It just harms those who would hurt you in turn.
What are the side effects?
Oh, it wears off in about 10 minutes. If any creature would spill your blood in close range of you, they will find themselves burning quite quickly.
Katu.
As I've said, it does not harm the drinker.
Okay. I mean, that would be most helpful.
Sure.
I'm looking for... Have you got any good shields?
Or medium armor.
Armor and shields. Yes. Yes. And she snaps her fingers, and nothing that you can see happens, but you get the sense another one of those invisible servants is off running to one place or another. So, I have two shields. One I can spare. Oh, well, I should say, I can spare one of them. One is a little more offensively geared. It's when a spell is cast upon you, when magic is targeted your way, you can reflect that spell back at the one who dealt it to you. We use these quite a lot in Trebane circles in our training duels. This one is especially potent. Most of the time we blunt the safeguards on them so as not to kill our initiates. This one has no such restraints. The other one is much more protective. In reaction to a moment of severe danger, you can hold the shield and channel its power and project a large barrier in front of you, large enough to defend you and anyone close to you, giving you quite a bit of extra defense for just that moment. And both of them are enchanted to be especially protective.
Do they require attunement?
No, they do not.
Excellent. Gonna take the first one, please.
All right. Very well. And after a moment, the servant rushes in, bearing a large shield just up, floating through the air, and deposits into your lap. It is this bright, silvery, almost mirror-like shield with a very shiny finish. It's shaped like a heater shield. So if you know what a heater shield is, that sort of diamond-like shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who am I fucking? You're a fucking nerd. Of course you know.
I know what a
heater
heater
shield
shield is. Man. Yeah.
Yep.
All of you to assume you don't. None of us know what that is.
And on the front there is a great sort of scrawling filigree of arcane runes, very intricate, tight patterns, almost like a script running through the whole face of it. As you put your hand to it and hold the handle of it behind, the runes light up, and a faint glow shoots out across the length of polished steel.
Nice.
Really, I have many such items. So many items at my disposal.
Okay, that's
And so
good to
few
know.
I can spare.
Well, what about arrows, bullets, ammunition?
Armor.
Mundane bullets are easy enough. Arrows, and she looks to your quiver. I take it you want something a little more potent than what you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
One question for you. Fire
Good.
or lightning?
Ooh.
Ooh, lightning.
Easy enough. And after a few moments, a servant rushes in bearing a quiver on his hands, and another set of 20 arrows are dropped into your lap. And these look fairly similar to the dragon tooth arrows that you once had and used up through all of your last adventures, but the heads crackle with electricity, even in their quivers. You put your hands on them, and it zaps you just a tiny bit, but not too major. The charge activates when the arrow is fired, and in addition to hitting the target with a little bit of added electrical force, the lightning propels the arrow in such a way as to move it faster than the eye can track. Gives them a little more range.
That's not an issue. Okay, yeah, no, I will put. So I've got like the double quiver still, so I'll put them in the one on the left quiver.
Gotcha. Yes, that is fine, Dave. Yep, that I see that. you
No,
have
what I
that.
was going to say is Kat is just going to dump that on the ground and ask, can she make bullets for these, for the lads?
I can, but to be honest, I'm very tired. I don't feel like making anything new. Why don't I just bring you in something I've already made?
Sure.
Maybe.
Snapping her fingers, and
Go
out comes. Snapping her fingers, and out comes two pouches just dangling in the air. One filled with gunpowder, the other filled with bullets. And you prop open the drawstring bag, the little pouch, and you find several very shiny bullets staring back at you. Adamantine rounds. They
Ooh.
are not particularly more damaging as they are, but you will find that it is much easier to hit a vital spot with these rounds.
I'm also gonna add to that pile if you don't mind. I've got these claws of adamantium. What can you do with those? Also, these mysterious silwood plants and materials, or silverlear wood plants and materials. Wood applicants.
Do you remember if you rolled high enough to know what the plants did, or the
No,
materials from the cellular wood did? No,
okay,
you only
so,
knew that they were interesting.
I knew that they were useful for something. I just didn't know what that was.
Gotcha.
And then the
Um,
adamantium claws I've been holding on since like the third session.
These are valuable materials. Truth be told, I don't have much time for artificing these days. I'm a little pressed. But if you are willing to deposit them with me, and if our alliance proves fruitful, I could see about making something for you on my own time. And these, she looks to the plants. Truth be told, I'm not much of a botanist. There are some materials in there as well, some raw ores and stones, some interesting pieces of wood that you picked up. She looks at these with a little more interest. Give me some time, and I might be able to make something from these.
Fair enough.
I also believe Katu asked if you have any armor.
Armor. Yes.
Fucking repeatedly.
I
I
got
apologize.
you,
No, I-
Katu.
No,
I
that's
clocked it too. I clocked it too, but the conversation just kept moving.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience. Yes, yes, I do. And we don't have to keep going through the rigmarole. All these items keep floating in from the air, brought to you from some kind of unseen armory. And when you look to see and track where they come from, you actually notice that these items are almost appearing from thin air, sort of in a strange way, like they are gradually manifesting into the air piece by piece by piece. And you get the sense that they're exactly where these servants are going to and where they're pulling these items from is being hidden from you by some spell or another.
Of course.
That's fair.
But she brings out this suit of half plate armor, piece by piece, sort of laying it down on the ground upon you, before you, until it assembles into a full suit. Mithril is the material here, exceptionally light, exceptionally durable, but not just any mithril, enchanted, of course. We would not be Trevains if we did not enchant our materials. If we did not strive to be just a little bit better than the competition.
How much mithril do you actually have, armor-wise?
Do you want a suit for yourself?
I'm interested.
Exactly how much is not something I can just tell you. And as it is, you've gotten your arrows. I'm afraid I cannot provide too many of my means and tricks to you all, at least not in this stage of our venture. But anyway, in any case, this armor, in addition to being light and agile, also grants a power of teleportation. Limited though it may be. Once per day, assuming the magic runes hold up and you are not in some state of being that prevents you from using magic, you can teleport a brief distance very quickly, easily as that.
Sounds good. I'll take it.
She nods graciously. And you, big man, and you, small man, you have not asked for anything of me yet.
I have my armor gifted to me by my goddess, and a blade as fine as the armor itself, finer even. I don't know what you could possibly offer me, Antoinette.
What about...
Your armor is moon-touched. It's very pretty, but it's not very protective, is it? I've certainly seen finer pieces.
Ooh.
I could make it shine.
Can I take that shit?
She's
Go
not wrong.
on.
Well, exactly as I've said. It's lacking, as it is. Your goddess may anoint you in very well-groomed finery, but she doesn't have the same flair for invention that I do. Leave it with me for just a day, and I will make you a king in plate.
Can I get like a rental plate armor while I give this to you so I'm not caught with my pants down?
Why don't we just stay here for a day?
If we stay here for a day, that's...
No, no, it's a day.
No, we're back in the normal
We're in
plane
the
now.
normal
We're
plane.
not, we're not in the pocket dimension anymore.
Yeah, so we just stay for a
I've-
day.
I've had a stroke. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stay here for a day.
Alright.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Alright, and you, small man, what do you desire? You who carry so many guns.
Please, some ice cream.
I think he's still AFK. Coach?
Ah. Yeah, no worries.
He gets more ice cream. Woo!
That's okay. Yeah.
We'll get back
We'll
to
come
my
back
guest.
to that. We'll come back to that.
We can retroactively do it. It's fine.
I mean, knowing him, he
We'll
would
fix
just
it in
want more guns.
post.
You'll probably just want more guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want more
A really
guns.
badly over the top dub scene of Coach like, yes, I will have the boots. Can we get one of those like AI YouTube voices?
No, I don't want ice cream. Any magic ice creams. Ice cream is fine. I am Coach.
All right. Hopefully these will aid you in your ventures.
Okay. Thank you. Now, what do we do with the Jagantoths?
Nothing for a day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna actually.
Zale says in his loincloth.
Well, I mean, we'll need a day. We'll need a day to plan anyway, so don't worry. I will come back to you.
He's so funny, dude.
Is this just like Dragon Age, where they're just in their underpants, like armor off?
I assume you haven't
Zale.
like
That's
stripped
just
it off
Zale.
in the middle of the meeting room, unless that's
I'm
what
sorry,
Zale's
when I
into.
was resurrected, I wasn't resurrected with modesty.
No, that does not come through the divine gate, as it were. All right, so okay, so you asked this question of her. Jagantoths, as of right now, are somewhat like the mythical Hydra. No matter how many of their heads you cut off in this situation, they'll always grow back another. You'll have to deal with them at their source. You'll have to find some way to get them away from the manor, or somehow disrupt them to such a degree that they can no longer supply reinforcements to it. If it were just a matter of killing the ones outside, I could do it. It would be costly, but manageable, but it would be a fool's errand right now. They have too many forces, and they're too easy. It's too easy for them to resupply any men that they lose.
Do you know which
We-
merc companies
we
they have in their
know.
employ?
We know where their resources come from.
Do you?
Reinforcements.
We do.
Reinforcements. The Iron Shepherds.
Well, they
to
hire
be-
mercenary companies in general, don't they? Like
And
the
Mercer
Jagantoths.
himself said that they were held in very high regard.
So
The
what-
shepherds are one of their best, to be sure. They have their own little stronghold outside of Shady Creek Run.
Hmm.
It's somewhat into the forest, not the Savalier, the more mundane forest. A very well-kept keep.
Do we assault said keep?
It's known as the Sour Nest.
Sour nest.
Would I not have heard of that? Or no?
Make a history check. The location of it is actually fairly well guarded, so you'll have to roll high, but you might have heard of it before. Yeah, not quite. Almost. The name rings a bell as she says it, and it almost seems to click something in your head, like, oh yeah, maybe you did hear of that, but you didn't put the connection together until now.
Gotcha. Okay, so what of Mercer then? Is he not the head dog?
Not quite. He is
Ionis, isn't it?
Ionos, yes. Ionos Jagantoth would be the leader of the family, as it were. Mercer is just one of his closer confidants, his hands in the field, as it were. Ionos himself, to be honest, even I wouldn't be able to find him. You'd have to do some digging.
I also have another question now. Why should we now help you over the Jagantoths? What exactly can you offer which they can't? Seems they've got more resources at the moment.
He says as he looks at his new lightning arrows.
Like, you know, all these gifts. Now, what can you
No.
give?
Yeah,
More.
she actually does like raise an eyebrow at that. Again, looking at the
I-
group of
I
you
do
with your
give
armor
Kieran-
and
Zale
weapons.
raises an eyebrow.
Yeah,
like,
Morris raises an eyebrow.
Kieran, did you hit your head?
Okay, Mr. Goldfuss.
I'm afraid I'm unable to respond to that in any way that would make any logical sense.
Look, okay, so
I'm teasing you.
do they?
She does not look amused.
Do you know?
It's just a prank.
Do the Jagantoths hire internally as well as merc companies?
Actually, most of their work is done through contractors. The family itself does its best to keep their hands clean. While the Jagantoths may be known here in the Run as a prolific crime family, their records are spotless elsewhere, which allows them to extend very wide hands across the continent. So no, they do not hire among their own.
Okay, that's kind of handy, actually. Do you know of any of the other mercenary companies that they have in their employ?
Many. Too many to list, in fact. The Iron Shepherds are one of their strongest, but again, just one more head of the Hydra.
Yeah,
And
well,
who's the second?
we need to crush the body. Stop chopping heads.
Yes, that's exactly my thoughts, truth be told. You
But
could destroy as many of their companies as you like, and you'll always find another to replace it. If you could find the location of Ionos himself and threaten him, if you could, I don't know, persuade him? He's a coward at heart. And while he's interested in what this manor has to offer, he'd not take it at cost to his own life. He's not that ambitious.
would it be reasonable to assume that these shepherds would know, possibly, the inner workings of the Jagantoth household?
The shepherds as a whole, no, but their headman Lorenzo, he's in quite good with the Jagantoths, as it were. I've heard he's dealt directly with Ionos quite a few times. No subsidiaries, no third parties, and that's a very rare thing. So perhaps.
Have I heard of this Lorenzo before?
Not you. You have not been. You have
No.
not spent nearly enough time in the run.
Would
Kieran, you can make a history check if you
okay.
like. Just hearing of him is low, so yes, you have heard of Lorenzo. He's fairly prolific, fairly famous, as it were. A very abnormally tall human man who wields a wicked glaive, who has some magical ability as well. Very
Can I make
yeah,
Oh, sorry, Verb. I was gonna say, can I make a history check on that physical description? Because I would have seen people, but I wouldn't know their names.
That's a good point. Yeah, make a history check.
No, never mind.
So, what comes to you, Zale, is a brief flash of a memory at this description, and you're brought back to that day in the wolf pit, as you and your fellow kids were dropped into that pit and made to fight and die and shed blood for the amusement of others. And you do remember vividly, almost flashing through your head, shunting itself into your vision uncomfortably. You remember seeing this man, a very tall, scarred man with dark hair and reddish eyes, standing head and shoulders above everyone else in the crowd. And you remember him smiling as you put your hands to this wolf and choked it to death.
Okay.
I've seen him.
So plan, go to a sour nest, find the sour nest, take out the shepherds, because you want to do that anyway, Zale, and that's something we have to do.
Maybe.
We might be able to introduce some skullduggery here.
How so?
Well, what if it's the Ulots, right? Ulotots?
Utalots.
The Utalots. They're
Utalots,
another
thank-
family that you all
Yes.
have not really interacted with yet.
Yes. Well, what if the Utalots were the ones who destroyed the Iron Shepherds?
Well, we could frame them for that, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing.
Is anyone good at forging?
Strangely enough, no.
We say stood in front of a woman really good at forging.
No, forgery.
Ah, sorry.
As in, like, forging, you know.
Punisher? Punisher.
Yeah.
Punisher.
Checking.
Oh.
Oh, you're back, Coach.
Oh, Coach, you get a magic item.
Yeah, you do
I'm
get a
not
magic item. Yeah.
What do you want?
Antoinette was handing him out like candy, and you were AFK at the moment.
So you took Mister instead.
Yeah, you got more ice cream instead. No. Yeah, you are allotted a magic item. It just depends on what exactly you're looking for.
Something that shoots many bullets at once.
Something that shoots.
I
many
fucking knew
bullets.
it, dude. I called it. Another gun.
Rewinding. YouTube rewind. Going back in time just a little bit, as Antoinette is going person to person and asking what exactly you need to make this next step successful. And her eyes fall on you, Ish, and she looks to the many guns, the flintlock rifle at your back, the 2 pistols at your hip. And almost before you even said it, she smiles. Looking for something powerful, are you? Yes. Yes, that can be arranged.
I make a finger guns at her.
She smiles. She does not make the finger guns back, but she smiles. And she steps up personally, leaving the table for a few minutes, and leaving you all in relative silence for just a moment. And I will use that as an excuse to leave myself, because I need to pee.
Yeah.
Drank too much beer. I'll be right back.
Where is the thing that says what type of a... Ah, I've got a disguise kit and thieves' tools. So I'm not sure if either of those would do forgeries.
No, it would be a forgery kit.
So no.
But you can still use it, you just wouldn't be proficient with it. Zale, tools, none. Moorish, tools, none.
Yeah.
I do the big bonky bonks.
Yeah,
That's respectable.
I'm a combat spellcaster.
That's a little less respectable.
Yeah, fuck you, Mr. Utility Man.
Hey man, when my human fighter comes out, you'll love it. I'm kidding.
It'll be great.
If only I had fucking Volk for this campaign. Just impersonate someone and just go up to a Jagnov like, Lorenzo said your mother's a bitch, and then slap someone and then run away.
If I hit level 5 in Paladin, I get my extra attack from that. So I'm gonna switch out one of my invocations and pick up Mask of Many Faces, so I can cast Disguise Self at will. And also I'm gonna pick up Skill Expert and pump here proficiency into Persuasion. So I get a +9 to Persuasion. Yeah. And
nice.
and I'll have like a +6 to +5 to Deception and whatever else. I think I've got Intimidation proficiency as well.
I've returned.
Yeah. Sick.
What horrible things were you all discussing?
That's for us to know and you to find out.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck you. Okay. I'll just watch the VOD later. Okay.
No, it's private.
I'll private it, yeah.
Okay. Antoinette returns, and when she comes back, she holds this weapon with a carry handle on the top of it, and 6 barrels shooting out, interconnected with a middle band at the center. Has to hold it in 2 hands as she sets it down on the table before you, Punisher. It looks a little large for you. You could just about sling it if you carried it around. This is what I like to affectionately call my iron fusillade. It only has 6 barrels, but you can fire them all in exceptionally quick time, a single pull of the trigger. After that, it is spent. You'll have to reload it, and it takes quite some time. But the amount of fun you can have for just those brief moments, I believe you'll find this satisfactory.
Sorry, what does it do for?
It is basically a 6-shot chain gun. You make 1 attack with it, and it makes 6 attacks immediately.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
And then it's spent.
So it's a shotgun.
And it's reloadable?
It is reloadable, yes, but it's the typical 10 actions per barrel kind of reload.
Even if it's done by a gunner? Or someone proficient in gunnery?
If it's done by a gunner, you can use a bonus action to try and speed up the process, but it doesn't do it instantly.
Why not?
But
Yeah, why
Well-
not for?
fuck you, because I said so, you motherfuckers. These are homebrew guns, they are homebrew rules, and you operate by my machinations or not at all.
Can I add an addendum to the homebrew rules? It reloads
no.
are instant.
You cannot.
Oh.
Alright.
What if I say please?
Also, I need to make a change to your item, Morris. The shield it can be attuned to, or rather, it doesn't require attunement. The special magical reflection ability doesn't require it, but for the constant +1 AC bonus on top of the regular shield bonus, that does require attunement.
Ugh.
But you can still hold the shield and get that magic reflection ability, as well as the shield bonus.
Does someone want my Staff of Denial?
No, I'm denying your stuff.
Zale?
I might be able to make use of it.
Well, it allows you to
I
cast
do have a free attunement slot.
It allows you to cast Counterspell and that sort of stuff. It's not anything that requires a DC. And you like to run in. If you get blinded, you can use this handy little feature where you can suppress that for a little time.
I will take it for now.
Okay, I'm gonna unattune from the staff and
Okay.
hand it over to Zale.
And in typical verb fashion, I did not write any of these items up. I didn't write most of them up anyway.
That's
I
cool, man.
assume you'll write them tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes, I'll have them done soon.
absolutely fine, dude.
By tomorrow. End of tomorrow. That's your deadline.
Who are you to put deadlines on me, Usti? Fuck
Una-
you. Go to
I'm-
hell.
Unacceptable,
I'm
bro.
used
Deals
to- I'm
off.
putting it on you.
Deals off.
You know
You
what?
missed a
Fuck
step.
it. I
missed a step
stab
behind
Antoinette.
Okay. All right. All right. Where were we? All right. So we just rewind to give Kutch his magic chain gun. Now we're going back forward. You were talking about the Jagantoths and the Sour Nest.
So I think the plan should be go to the Sour Nest and see if we can get some information out of this Lorenzo fellow.
Do we know where that is? I don't.
By get some information out of him, you mean murder everyone in the keep, right?
And then viciously attack him and maim him, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Just
of
so we're on the
course.
same
Yeah, no,
page.
we're on the same page, don't you worry. Do you know where the Sour Nest is, Antoinette? Or at least a rough area that we could investigate?
Roughly, yes. My spies have reported that the shepherds come out of an area to the southeast of the forest there.
Okay. And where can you teleport us out from here?
Any space within a mile of the manor, I can do.
Alright, cool, that's fine. You mentioned a token for getting back in.
Yes, of course, assuming this alliance works out. And she reaches into her jacket, undoing one button, reaching into her jacket and pulling out a small pouch, and she pulls out, there are 5 of you, right? So 5 little steel and silver emblems that are emblazoned with the Trebane family logo, family symbol. Kind of similar to the emblems that you carried of the Mardoon family once upon a time. I think one of you still has that.
Zale died with it, and we burnt it on his body, I believe.
Ooh.
Ah. So you don't have that anymore, but you have these. They will likewise double as symbols of authority to any Trebane castabouts you may find in your travels. For what good that will do, I don't know. Some of them may have lost their loyalty in the intervening days. As a note, should you cross me, double turn me in any way, I can disable these from a distance, and you may find yourselves tangling with the Minotaur again.
Okay.
I would remind you with that statement, Antoinette, that we have never wronged anyone that has not wronged us first.
She looks almost curiously at that, and she looks at you, Zale, for an oddly long moment, gaze lingering, and then she smirks just a bit. For some reason, I almost believe you're telling the truth. Remarkable.
Well, except for that one guy you Molotoved in the mouth.
I was having a day.
She laughs.
Okay. So if we find out where Ionis is and go to him, tell him to fuck off, basically, and then come back to you, and we'll consider that a good start to the alliance.
Yes,
we can
I
draw
believe
the-
at that point it will be much more productive to discuss these matters a little more in depth.
So a trial run, as it were.
A good way to put it.
Okay, well, as far as I'm concerned, you've provided us with what we have asked for.
And
you have
destroying
asked-
that thing.
And you have asked for something from us.
Right, and there was that one condition that you insisted upon.
Yes.
And I suppose if you are going to do my work now, then I can follow through on my end as well.
Excellent.
Is there anything else left to discuss?
What can you tell me about those Trebane marks that give you spells?
Well, there are many different denominations of them, as it were, different kinds. The kind you were emblazoned with, and she waves a hand in the air, and a light casts from her fingertip, which shines on the scar on your left hand, and almost in the patterns of your scar, you see faint residual traces of magic in the shape of that glyph mark, still clinging to you, Kieran. Ah, yes. Your mark was what was known as a channeling mark. It imbued your body with additional arcane potency, granted you a little more knowledge directly from the stacks themselves. You see, we have a bit of an arrangement. Our libraries are more than just collecting books. And our power is transmittable directly to our operatives on the field through these marks. And in addition to that, we can exert control over our operatives through these marks, or at least we were able to before Father died.
So are these marks now useless? Or they still have their power?
They still have their power, just without the control aspect of them. At least until someone else gains the relevant knowledge to take those reins again. If only we had Father's spellbook.
Hint, hint, I guess. Are there different kind of marks, or is it all the same?
There are various different categories, yes. Various specialties, as it were, some relating to the raw elements, some a little more fine-tuned.
So we rest, you work on Zale's armor, and we head out tomorrow.
Indeed. And before we do anything else...
Sorry, I'm also curious, if one takes a mark off, can they be remarked?
Of course. It just
Okay.
requires that the mark be placed on a different part of the body.
Somewhere
Okay.
easier to chop off this time, maybe, Kieran.
Well, I mean, the arm was pretty easy, not gonna lie.
It doesn't look easy based on that scar.
It's but a flesh wound.
Tis but a scratch.
It was a bitch and a half to get that thing healed, Kieran. It was a solid 2 weeks, even with healing magic, of just constant pain and
Yeah.
itching.
Oof.
It's okay. I took my fantasy painkillers and was done with it.
Mm,
Down with some whiskey.
of course, of course.
Is there somewhere that we can sleep?
Yes, I can provide rooms. It's a little bit cramped. I can't give you your own private bunks, as it were. Our guest rooms are under siege. But I can give you a spot in the barracks. No one will bother you.
Sure.
But before all that, if you'll not trust me at my word, you'll have to follow me. We'll see to it that these ruins are destroyed. And she leads you on her way, down through the halls, twisting and turning. The design of this inner sanctum is almost labyrinthine in nature. You get the sense it's designed to disorient and confuse. But Antoinette moves through with steady confidence until eventually she comes to the room where you were guided to once, Zale. I don't remember if anyone else went in with you.
Why
We've
don't
all
we-
been
we
here
all
at one
went there.
point, but it was
All
a
went
different
there,
time.
perfect.
Yeah, we were all in there, and then I went back on my own.
To
I
bring
don't
Zamara
think
back.
anyone.
No,
I don't actually think anyone knows what I did yet.
no.
No one knows
Not
what I did.
really.
Yeah, the deal you made, yeah. So it perhaps hits you a little more strongly than it does the others, Zale, as you are brought back into this ritual chamber with its circular stone platform rising up to a runic circle carved into the stone, and then these many arrayed glass and crystal tanks suspended with water, people floating within them, humans, dwarves, elves, all naked, strapped up with tubes and crystal lines that seem to connect them in a tracery of lines to the center stone platform. Hundreds upon hundreds of years of innovation, research, the pinnacle of our knowledge in so many ways, and I have to be the one to destroy it.
The shame it led to something as disgusting as this.
How
The amount of research wasted
is it
because
just
of the fear of death that could have been poured into something else.
is
don't
it
you
just
think?
pure damage to take these out?
Sorry, say that again, Morris?
Is it are you literally just is Antoinette gonna just like start shooting shit out at them, or is there like a mechanism to?
No. Hang on, we'll get to that. As you say this, Kieran and Zale, she looks back at both of you over her shoulder. There is almost a moment where it looks like she's going to reply, then she just shakes her head silently. I will tell you straight away, the moment one is brought into these tubes, they were never to be brought out. The mind is killed while the body lives, nothing but a sack to be drained of its vital essences. I understand that you all are considering yourselves saviors, saints and whatnot, doing good unto the world. So be it. What have you? But there
Yeah,
will be no
no,
saving.
not really.
No. We're
I've
no
done some really bad shit.
We're not
yeah, I
saints.
mean, we give and take. I wouldn't say we're saviors.
And yet, for what reason do you want this destroyed when you could benefit from it yourself, or even just let it live and exist on its own? Because it's abhorrent, you say.
Mm.
Well,
That's
I mean,
morality if ever I've heard it.
your father lived in it, and he kind of went a bit, you know, into the deep end.
I'm not here to discuss morality with you. I'll see it done. And she goes to the far end of the room and waves her hand over what just looks like a patch of mundane stone, but as she waves her hand over it, the wall flickers and shifts, and you see it as an illusion. She reaches her hand through it, pulls a lever, and all of the tanks begin to drain, and the bodies in them fall to the ground within those little glass tubules, naked, shivering, alive and breathing, but their eyes are wide open and vacant. Alright, let's do this. And she takes from her jacket a little small stone and draws it up the length of her arm, pulling up her sleeve as she does so. And magic shoots through her arms as she casts Disintegrate and just waves it through the room in a solid green beam, touching every glass tube, running over the stone platform and the runes engraved upon them, severing and marring them until they are all destroyed. There you go.
Was it you giving
It's
your
done.
NPCs disintegrate? You son of a bitch.
It's a good spell.
It is a good spell. Okay. Bunks. Thank you.
She doesn't reply, just waves you off, and a young Trebane mage comes and finds you all and leads you to the barracks.
I'm gonna hang back while the rest of the party go off. And see if I can speak to her.
She senses that you have not left. Is anyone else staying, or are you all going?
Probably going.
Okay.
Could I eye up the armor that we saw at the start?
The armor?
Her suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
The battle suit we saw in the main
Oh,
room.
no, fuck no. You have no
No?
way of getting to that workshop. You have no idea how to find it again. You go led away from it down this labyrinthine inner sanctum. Well, okay. We can talk about that in a bit, but let's play out Morris's scene, and then we can possibly see what hijinks you want to get into.
His
Alright,
sneaky elf
sensing
self.
that she is not alone in this space, she looks over her shoulder and sees you still standing there, Morris.
A moment.
What for?
I take off my backpack. And I'm gonna pull out Darko's spellbook.
There is...
I'm gonna keep it close. Like it's not coming
brief-
out of the rucksack. It's going like out, going back in, and then I'm putting it back onto my back.
I gotcha, but you're flashing it so that she can see it.
Yes.
And her eyes widen infinitesimally, very small. An instant reaction of shock before she plays it off. You have his book.
It was my kill.
So you were the one who did it then? Dealt the final blow?
Yes.
Did you see fear in his eyes before he died? I must know.
Did I see fear in his eyes before he died?
You did. The smallest, quickest trace of it as he realized his own mortality. This man who deigned to play God, who deigned to play with the fates, to aspire to live forever, even as an elf when he was given so much time as it was. And he saw fear as you saw that, and you brought it all crumbling to the ground around him.
I did, yes.
She smiles wickedly. Good. Good. Arrogant bastard. So you have his book, and I reckon you're probably not going to give it to me free of will.
No. No. I I know that there is a way to open it somewhere in this confusing maze that you've got set up here.
There is.
But I want your assurance. I'm not giving you this book now, and you're not getting it for a while. Until I know I can trust you. But, if there comes a time, and I have your assurance, and we are on the same page, we can do it together.
What are your ambitions with that book exactly?
Knowledge.
Knowledge is power. Power is dangerous.
It's the power
My
that's
father.
the problem.
You recognize that you stand in the heart of my sanctum right now.
Yes.
And you stand alone, and you've shown this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Some would call that stupid. Very foolish.
Maybe.
Her eyes fix on yours. Together, you say. And what exactly is it that you wish to get out of that book? What is it you wish to do with it? Learn from it? To what end?
To get answers. Let's call it that for now.
Very well. Very well. I would hope that you'd be wise enough to not die and leave that in the hands of our competitors. They may not have any ways of unlocking it as it is, but even in its sealed form, it's quite a potent artifact.
Yes. Yes, I got that.
Don't die, Morish. We'll talk on this another time.
I'm gonna back out the room while facing her until I'm fairly away, and I'm assuming an attendant's gonna come to me because I have no idea where they've gone.
Pretty much. And as soon as you begin to leave, she doesn't put up the pretense of watching you. She just turns back to the ruined chamber, a slant in her shoulders like she's deep in contemplation. And you exit the chamber, and a servant does find you and guide you to the barracks with everyone else.
Sure thing. Cool.
Mr. Kutch, you want to double back and find that mech suit, right?
Or one that would fit me, yes.
Or one that would fit you. Okay. Okay, you son of a bitch. You stand right now, currently, with the rest of your group, minus Morris for the time being, in this long wooden room, a barracks that has been repurposed into such. Many beds have been dragged into place. Some, like, rudimentary bunk beds have been constructed to save on space. Literally just beds stacked on top of one another, held together with wooden scaffolding. The Trevains might be good with metal and cogs. They're not really carpenters, most of them, and some of the construction looks a little rickety. You are, I wouldn't say surrounded, but there are a lot of eyes in this room right now. You've just been led down this labyrinthine maze to this place. You're not confident you'd be able to navigate your way around it, but you could try. What exactly do you want to do to start this grand quest for your mech suit?
Gosh.
First of all, I'd go look over there, and then use the camouflage.
Swerfneblin camouflage, okay. Calling on your innate magic to blend in just a little bit chameleon-like for a brief moment in with the walls and the ground around you. Make a stealth check at advantage. I'm gonna make... Fuck, there's a lot of people in this room, man. Is anyone trying to help him in any way?
Do we know his
Why
plan?
the
Is
fuck
he,
not?
is he
I don't
No,
think so.
I generally leave him to his insanity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there, obviously, so I can't do it.
Right.
I mean,
anyway.
I'm not gonna fall for his shit. I'm just gonna watch him and see what he does. This is gonna be interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna roll 2d4 plus 3, and that's how many people are in this room right now. And then each of them gets a perception check. 8 perception checks are coming your way. 3
No
spell
problem.
knights.
No problem.
1, 2, 3. Oh wow, lucky so far. 2 elementalists.
Locks got nothing to do with that.
1, 2. That's a total of 5. One of them is matching your DC. I will have you know. And then I don't have stats for the general servants and shit, so I'm just gonna use this rifleman. If I can find him. Yeah, there he is. 1, 2, 3 for a total of 8. Okay.
Success.
Okay. So a 22 perception matches your 22 stealth, which, as you know, is like similar to how like saving throws work. If you match it, you beat it.
Yeah,
So
so I beat it.
so no, no. I appreciate your boldness, my man, but no, sort of. So as you say this, look over there, and then you call on your magic and briefly blend into the wall, turning for just a flash invisible. Um, Oddly enough, despite the fact that you've literally just walked in this room, this group of weirdos, not dressed in Shebane clothing, outsiders evidently and eminently right from the start. For some reason, some of them take you at your word and immediately look over there, and the others perhaps just aren't paying attention, aren't paying enough attention, and you are pretty small. So you flash for just a little bit invisible, going toward the door, I assume. And in the corner of your eye, you look back and you see one of the elven wizards has seen that, and he's tracking. Well, he's tracked that you've momentarily disappeared, and you're
Can
moving toward the door.
can I motion to him like the whisper sign and then the throat slit sign?
um, make make an intimidation check.
Fuck's sake.
Okay, so you're like a 3.5 foot gnome, and you're festooned in guns and gear. You have your little leather trench coat, which looks very edgy and cool. You have your new like Gatling chain gun slung over your back beside your rifle, and you do look a little bit imposing. But you're also 3.5 feet tall and a gnome. And as you make eye contact with this wizard and slash your finger across your throat, like I'm gonna fucking kill you, motherfucker. He looks at you. He looks at his people around him, and he gestures to the two spell knights beside him. One of them in armor, the other one in the process of stripping off his armor, and points at you. And then you have 3 people looking at you now.
Um. Hmm.
You haven't done anything untoward yet. As far as they're concerned, you're just a weirdo who briefly turned invisible and is now near the door. They don't know what your intentions are, but they see you.
Can I say, is this the bathroom?
No, there's chamber pots under your beds.
I can't go with people looking.
That's not my problem, little man. And the wizard is looking very strongly at you.
Can I do like the pee dance?
make a deception check with disadvantage. You love 7s, huh?
Yeah, they're lucky.
No, not in this case, man. The wizard narrows his eyes. Are you in? No. No, you're gonna stay right here. Alright? I don't know what your angle is, but you're going to stay right here. Are we clear on that?
What?
He slaps his face, his palm against his face, and gives a long sigh.
She's got face palmed by a wizard.
An NPC wizard.
Go to your bed and pipe down like some of us are trying to sleep. You know?
So,
Just-
has dawn come since the last day?
Well, in terms of like actual like time, it's been close to 5 days since you stepped into the labyrinth because of the time dilation in there. In terms of like your perceived time, it's only been like maybe 5 hours or 6, close to 6.
Hmm.
We go by our perceived time.
Yes.
Okay. Can I say? Can I say? I can't hold it anymore. and I get the decanter of endless water and put it down where my dick would be, and then
Make a sleight of hand check, motherfucker. Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh my fucking.
Oh my god, why are your rolls so bad, guy? You attempt to maneuver your decanter of endless water, which is held outside of your gear, on your belt, and try to maneuver it down into your trouser, over your underwear, but it's visible. People can clearly see you stuffing this glass, like, horn thing into your pants. And, like, they're all watching you at this point. You made a scene, so now all 8 people are watching you do this, and you're not at all subtle about it.
right now whenever it is, let's go.
All right, you're gonna pull it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No power armor for me.
Okay, good. That's good news for your Willy. As you immediately eject a stream of water from your pants, soaks through in an instant, then bursts out. Buttons go flying from your fly and spring across the room, nails one of the riflemen in the forehead with fairly strong force, leaving a welt there as water spills out around you and on the floor in a growing puddle. And the wizard looks at you and looks at the decanter of water, which is clearly in your hands, held near your crotch, and your sopping wet underwear. And he sighs.
I look at him and go, "What?" And then just storm out.
Yeah.
And,
As you storm out, an attendant follows you to see where you're going.
I just join everyone else.
Okay. And you remain in the barracks with everyone else.
Oh, everyone else is there, sorry. I
Yes.
thought Moorish and all had left.
No, only-
Morris is only just catching up, and as he enters the room, he sees Kutch, the Punisher, I should say, with his pants sopping wet, the fly utterly destroyed, the buttons flung off, and a
my God.
puddle of water all around him.
I'm gonna use prestidigitation to clean it up.
No, don't.
As you go to use prestidigitation, the face-palming wizard casts counterspell. And says,
Really?
I can't smell that. Can't. No kidding.
I'm gonna make him waste all his spell slots here. I'm gonna do it again. I cast this all day, motherfucker.
no, you don't know what you've walked into, mate. Just let him sit in his own mistakes. It'll teach him a lesson.
I don't think it will.
I'd like to try. I barely know this gnome, and I
Dude,
already hate him.
Just give it up. Seriously, he will do what he wants to do. I'm gonna use prestidigitation to clean it up.
He doesn't stop you this time, but he looks very disappointed.
Trust me, we're all disappointed in him.
Oh
Who
my
the fuck
God.
are you people?
Holy shit.
Look, just
Do
go
we
back
have
to your,
a group name?
just go back to no, we don't. Just go back to your business. It's fine. Punisher, come on, let's go to bed.
We are the Mighty Five.
No,
No, that's 2 on the nose.
that's
You're
2.
right.
That is 2 on the nose.
The wizard goes to sleep, or tries to.
Muttering away to himself.
Yeah, he's very disappointed, not just in Ish, but in the world as a whole, as a result of this series of events.
Turns out this has aroused something in him.
All right.
So silly.
You get your rest. It's uneventful for the most part. Time is hard to tell in this inner space. They have the lights sort of working on an automatic dimmer and glower cycle. So with day and night, the lights go dark and then bright again, so that people don't go utterly insane and can still keep some track of time. But this deep into the manor, there's no windows or anything, so you can't see the world around you.
Look out, keen mind.
Yes, you're able to keep track of time, Kieran, but it's kind of the same story. Like, it's one thing to know in your mind that time is passing. It's another thing not to be able to see the effects of it. But in any case, you get your rest. The day is upon you. You wake up, I would say, actually fairly close to the early morning, maybe like 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Shut up. It's 9 o'clock. Shut up, Kieran.
Oh, God.
Well, that's
Shut
not
the fuck
happening.
up.
Okay.
That's a Critical Role reference.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
haven't seen that one.
sorry, they're walking through tunnels through days, and one of them has keen mind, and he keeps reminding them
Oh.
of the time, and they're like,
Yep.
"Shut up! Like we've been in here for days. Shut up!"
Oh, it's 10 o'clock. Shut the fuck up!
yeah. Bingly, 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 bong. It's
Oh,
4 o'clock.
Good episode. All right, what would you all like to do? If nothing else, Antoinette would find you eventually. But
Yeah,
if
I
there's anything
mean,
you
go
want to
and
do in the
see
interim,
Antoinette.
I would
Zale's
like my armor, please.
Yeah.
yes.
So I'm not just Tarzaning all over the shop.
And then I suppose we'll head out.
I would like to find, or try to find that room where I was marked and get a better look at it this time.
Oh, the room where the glyph mark was put upon you.
Yeah, if I'm allowed.
You would not be allowed to find it on your own. You might be able to convince someone to take you there if you can convince them your intentions are not to.
No,
destroy
fuck
it
that. We'll
with
sneak.
knowledge.
We'll sneak. Fuck it.
Okay. Okay. How do you want to do this? At what time? Are you doing this in the night? In the morning?
In the night. In the night.
In the night. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna
Oh,
start by
in the
having you
night.
make.
So sorry, really quickly. So, hold on, one sec. Let me find it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, picking a moment when it is quiet, when all you can hear are these even sounds of people's breathing as they try to sleep. You rise from your bed, alert in the night, looking out, and as far as you can see, no one's awake, no one's watching you, no one sees you. Quietly, pulling up the hood of your cloak, you make your way to the entrance of the barracks and open it and step out into a hallway. The torches on the walls are dimmed low, casting this eerie, low blue light, playing upon the walls and the floor. And you are faced with corridor to the left of you and corridor to the right of you, and you don't necessarily know.
Did
You
I
have
not
keen mind. You have
yes.
keen mind, which helps, but it's not like an interior map in your head. Not with the way this labyrinth, this place is laid out. There is magic fuckery going on, intentionally designed to disorient and confuse. You get the sense there might be some way of circumventing that, but
Okay.
in any
well,
case, make
could I
an
just use my
investigation
best-
check.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 14. It will take you some time, but having been here once before, having found the room before, you do navigate through the walls, through the corridors, I should say, looking and searching, and eventually you come to that same corridor that you sort of vaguely remember, this long stone walkway with doors to either side, small chambers sequestered inside, almost closet-like. You get the sense that this corridor is specifically designed for this purpose, like almost like a row of pods, like from a sci-fi movie, like cryotank pods, except instead of pods, they're like little stone doors that have little chambers inside them, all along either side of the wall. You don't remember which one is exactly yours, simply by nature of the fact that they all look the same, and the walls have shifted a little bit since you last recall it, but this is the same place, sort of place, that you went to last time. You can open any of the doors at random, or you can... Well, pretty much that's the way it would work.
How many doors are there?
There are 6. 1 on each side. 3 on each side, sort of alternating.
Do I remember if I opened a door on my left or my right?
You remember that you opened a door on your left, but at the same time that you remember that, the layout of this exact corridor is not exactly as you remember it. Things have
Okay.
changed.
Let's open the middle door to the left.
Middle door to the left. Okay. You pop it open, this stone door without handles, it pushes in at your touch. As your hands play on the stone, little arcane runes light up underneath your fingertips and shoot out across the length, casting you with light. And you are faced with this very cramped, narrow chamber, circular, with that little stone, like, platform on the ground, carved with the same symbols. Well, not the same well, you have keen
Similar?
mind, yes, but that lasts for a month. I would say you recognize vaguely the shapes, but you don't know if these are the exact same symbols that you were last emblazoned with.
Okay, well, now that I have dark vision, can I take a better look around the room? Because I think the last time I was literally just stumbling in the dark.
Yes, and that's exactly why you can play make out as many details as you have thus far. But are you looking for anything specific?
I'm more interested in the runes and trying to decipher what they actually are, as well as what else might be in this room.
Okay. As for anything else that might be in the room, there is nothing. It is this. It's like this circular, perfectly circular cylinder of a room that shoots up to the ceiling. Along the wall, these perfectly rounded walls, are many runes that shoot up and shoot down and interconnect with the stone platform on the ground, which is carved with its own runes. That you're not a wizard or anything, so you can't really make an Arcana check. You're gonna have to roll super high on this because you don't have any inbuilt knowledge, but who knows? You might have heard something. 19. That is pretty high. But yeah, I don't think you would have been able to do this. It's like DC 25. But with a 19, it's enough to recognize that A, this is beyond you. B, this is something that will probably, if your last experience is anything to go by, work as soon as you touch it. Sort of putting two and two together like a logic puzzle. You get the sense that as soon as you pressed your hands on the door and those runes lit up under your fingertips, it sort of keyed this chamber to your vital essence. So as soon as you step into that chamber, step upon that circle, you're gonna be blazoned.
Do I remember last time how close I was to dying when I stepped in the circle?
You came pretty close. You came within like 10 hit points. You've gotten stronger since then, but who's to say you know how any of this works?
Yeah, I'm kind of satisfied for now. We might come back. Yeah, I'll go back to the chambers. There's nothing really else
Okay.
to really see, I think. Yes.
Make another stealth check for me.
Double nat
Oh,
ones.
nice. Ooh, goddamn.
That
I
was
wish.
so bad.
I
No,
wish.
that happened. That
That
happened
happened
yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Because I have boots of elven kind now, and I rolled 2 natural ones, so I got 2 5s.
Hell yeah. All right. Not this time, apparently. Moving through silence as a shadow, quick and easy. You make your way back to the barracks, close the door softly behind you, and return to your bed.
You take long
New
rests.
knowledge in hand. Yes, sir. Take your long rests, guys. You're good to go. If you haven't already, I should say. Circling back, it is the morning. You have the day about you. Antoinette will eventually return with your armor, but if there's anything you want to do before she comes back, let me know.
I think we're
I mean,
Done here,
is there
aren't
much
we?
else to do
I was about to
in
say,
the
I
manor?
think-
I don't think so.
I think we're done.
Not
here.
really.
Yeah, I didn't figure, but sometimes you guys have crazy ideas, so. Eventually, Antoinette comes. Not herself, sending a servant at first to alert you all. Coming to, some of you waking up later than others. They lead you down the way, and you come to another workshop, not the grand, large one that you remember with the big mech suit sitting in the middle, open-hatched, but a smaller one, almost like a personal workshop. And you find Antoinette sitting beside her workbench, and she's not wearing her finery, no aristocratic jackets here. A blacksmith's smock, simple clothing, dirtied gloves, smeared with coal dust and other such grime. She pulls back and looks at you, Zale, who is dressed. You're dressed, I assume, in your civilian wear or whatever you wear under your armor. I assume you're not naked.
I've been. I don't know what I have
You
actually.
should have
Yeah,
a set
no,
of
I'll have
common
something. I
clothes.
was at
You
the
have-
keep for like a
I
couple of
do
days.
actually.
You probably have common clothes.
You should have some common
I've just got peasant clothes underneath from my resurrection.
Yeah,
haven't gone Primani.
gotcha. And you see on the workbench each individual piece of your moon-touched armor, which is still retaining that same faint moonlit glow to it, but new runes shoot across its surface, a stark black that veers very distinct against the plate metal, in all sorts of arcane patterns. And she beams a smile at you, Zale, wiping away sweat on her forehead, having evidently worked through the night. I must say, the material in this armor is exquisite, a joy to work with. It is no earthly metal as far as I know. This came from the skies, my friend. Or perhaps it is the essence of your goddess herself. In any case, it had quite some interesting properties, which I have taken the liberty of exemplifying, you could say. It's more protective than it was, a little more durable, more likely to deflect a blow than it once was. And I have managed to, I guess you could say, channel its natural properties. It will grant you resistance to a form of damage, one that you can choose once each day, and that you can change it each day that you uh, finish to rest and reattune with it, as it were. I actually had to do very little on that front. Most of the magic was in the metal itself. I just had to bring it out of its shell, as it were.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you enjoyed yourself putting this together.
She laughs and yes, very much so. It's the one thing I truly find joy in these days, to be honest with you. All yours.
I thank you very much, Antoinette.
It was a pleasure. Now, you have work to do, and I have a barrier to maintain.
Yep. Can you send
Indeed.
us as close to the southeast side of town as you can, please?
Done and done.
Before I leave, I'm just going to turn around to Antoinette and just be like, to add to what I said the other day about not wronging those that have never wronged us in the first place. If you continue this alliance and all you wish to do is tinker and make automatons, we can tinker and make automatons, and we can be the arm that clears this way for you. You do not know of your future with the Empire, but we... Oh, fuck. I've done that thing where I get confused
We are
mid-sentence
fuck.
again. Yeah. Barlet, we are fuck. Does anyone want to smell toast?
No, I'm picking up the gist of what you're saying. Make a persuasion check.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. I fucking keep doing that lately. I need to sleep
You're going
more.
senile on me, man.
Persuasion. Big money, big money, big money. Ball bag.
There is an earnestness to your words, Zil. You're hardly like a sincere golden boy who's all laughs and smiles and good charm and cheer. You're normally a very rough kind of man, really rough around the edges, but there is a sincerity in a sense to what you're saying, and she picks up on that a bit. As we've said, we can talk about the finer details of this arrangement at a later date. I have many words to say to that, not all of them kind, and my mother always told me that if I had nothing kind to say, then I should likely say nothing at all. So, thank you for your counsel, enjoy your armor, and don't die, and perhaps we can talk about this again sometime.
Excellent. Shall we?
Yes, I don't intend to see my goddess again so soon.
Yeah.
Alright.
The plans of mice and men. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
Indeed.
Excellent. She raises her hands, both hands, and traces them out in a dual arc, like almost like twin rainbows forming light in the air, and pushes her hands out in light circles to envelop all of you, and surround you in this swirling dome of energy. And then it curls in, compressing you, pulling in on you, and all of you compressing into a little ball. And for a brief moment, you are whirled like the fucking jumping a hyperlane in Star Wars. Just the swirling light all around you as you're teleported, and you find yourselves in the woods, some distance outside of the manor, just on the edge of your vision through the tree line. The Jagantoth guards patrolling and moving. And you stand outside there.
Okay. So there's a woods to the southeast.
To the southeast of all of Shady Creek Run, yes. It's some distance removed from the city itself.
I can just start heading that way, I suppose. What time is it?
It's still early morning. It's like 8:30.
Okay.
It's 8:30.
If the rest of the party has no
Well, I mean, did she give us like a general location of where that fort was?
In the forest
Keep.
southeast of town.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah. That's why so teleported us a mile southeast from the manor, like essentially, or as close to that point as possible, and then we'll head off on our way.
Okay, perfect. Yep, so you are currently in sort of the woods on the outskirts of Shady Creek Run. You come across a few scattered buildings here and there, farmsteads and such. A lot of them are abandoned, oddly enough. Newly abandoned for reasons, well, you could probably surmise them. There's been fucking gang wars left and right. It's probably not great for the city's prosperity. As you move through, so you're just heading straight to the rough location
Well,
of this fort, right? No detours?
I'd like to maybe take a look at a couple of these farmhouses, or find somewhere, like find tracks.
Okay, what kind of tracks?
Regular sort of passage into the woods, I suppose. Any like regular horse marks or cart marks that. Like,
I mean, I could probably pick that up.
yeah.
Okay.
Just for like
so
maybe like a regular route that the shepherds would use in and out of the woods. I get
Ah,
that it would
okay.
take some time, but like,
Right, right. So once you get there, you want to look for like the paths that they take,
yeah.
the to get in and out of the city. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. You're not quite there yet, but you do make your way there. It's a solid amount of travel, about 3 or 4 hours of walking, mostly because you're. Well, are you trying to keep a low profile? Are you sticking to the woods, or are you just moving through the city? Does not matter.
I'd say keep a low profile. You don't
Okay.
want to get spotted by any Jagantoths.
Hmm. Hey, I thought you were in the mansion.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, right, right. Okay. Eventually, you find yourselves in this rough location. You don't know exactly where the fort is, but you have your plan. Kieran, make a survival check for me.
Can I help him?
Okay.
Huh.
I mean, are you helping me?
I mean, if
Is that? Are
if-
you proficient in survival?
no, I'm not. Katu is.
Okay, so
I am.
26
Okay.
of the,
I can
26 of the
help.
skill.
Yep.
Help.
Yep. Anyone who's proficient in the skill can grant advantage. Okay. Yeah, 26 is pretty damn fucking good, man. Yeah, so you find what looks like, it just looks like any other abandoned building. This farmstead and a barn attached to it. Dilapidated, fence around it that's fallen in. The roof itself has staved in from the elements, snow likely piled on until it snapped. And it just looks like any other abandoned building, but for some reason it catches your eye. For some reason you can't quite tell, Kieran. Maybe it's the fact that while the building is abandoned, it doesn't show signs of squatters. You know, normally buildings like these would get habitated by some homeless guy sooner or later, looking for elements, and it doesn't have that. It doesn't have any burnt out campfires, no refuse, no trash, nothing like that. And poking through, eventually, near where the wood begins to thicken on the southeast side, you do find a small path through the undergrowth, a slight flattening of the bushes and the leaves and the grasses and such, and footprints that are faint, a few days old. It's been some time since anyone last traveled through here. With a 26, it's enough to surmise that a small squad of about 5 or 6 people moved through here, maybe 3 days ago.
Okay.
The trail is old, but it's visible just barely to you.
Okay. That goes through the barn, yeah?
Yes, it goes from the forest to the barn, and then fades out into the generally more kept side of the terrain, where the ground is paved and such, rough dirt
Okay.
roads.
All right. I'll make a point of pointing out the footsteps, and then we can follow them cautiously
Into the woods?
into the woods.
Into the woods. Okay.
What is the weather like?
Right now, the sky is overcast and cloudy, threatening rain. You can sort of smell the wetness in the air.
Okay. Yeah.
As you are moving through the woods, it's a bit of travel. You're maybe half an hour through it. Are you trying to be stealthy?
Yes.
Okay, I need all of you to make a stealth check. This is gonna go great.
7.
Oh, what?
Nice.
I haven't stuck on my mithril armor, but like wouldn't get the disadvantage on it. With...
Yes, yeah, it would be no disadvantage for that because it's
Oh,
mithril.
they didn't come through.
You rolled a 6, Zale. I saw it.
Yeah, no, it just hasn't popped up on my one.
I actually rolled
Uh,
a good stealth check for
I
once.
see it.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, nice. God damn. I do see the 6. Clank, 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 clank. It is indeed quite loud. It's a group check. A 12, a 29, an 18, a 13, but your overall results are not too great. Punisher is the sole exception, moving through the woods very deftly and agilely, very quick. But you make some noise. I'm gonna roll a dice.
Oh god.
Okay. About 25 minutes into your walk, keeping as low profile as you can, but anxiously and painfully aware of the loud clank of Zale's armor. It's when I'm gonna roll another dice. 1 for that guy. Okay, so there's 5 of you. 1d10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 6. Kieran. It's about 25 minutes into the walk that you hear suddenly blooming to life in your head a voice.
Uh-oh, okay. And what does the voice say?
It is a voice that you recognize.
Who's it now? Who
It
is
is the-
who? Yep,
It
go on,
is.
sorry.
It is the voice of Talir.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Kieran, can you hear me?
Can I respond to him?
You sure can.
Yeah, what's up, Talia? In the
I
middle of tracking stuff at the moment.
I've been trying to reach you all. It's been nearly 5 days. What the hell's been going on over there?
Magic, time altering dimension.
Well, you should know that.
Made by Antoinette.
Oh, well, that explains it. She's a crafty ass bitch. You should know that our scouts reported sightings of a red dragon flying through the air a few days ago. It hasn't
From what direction?
from the place that we went and nearly got killed at. It hasn't come too close. It's mostly been circling the skies, but it has been around, and it's very discomforting. And if it comes to the keep, we will all die. I just need to make that clear. I'm sorry to panic you, but we're all very scared.
Is there nothing you can do? No protection woods? Nothing?
We can retreat inside the keep, and that is mostly what we've been doing. We've been spending as little time outdoors as we can. And that may be enough, but god damn, we've been trying to reach you. I was worried the worst had happened.
How many days now has the dragon been flying around?
It's been 4 days since we first seen it, and it's made a point of circling every single day. At least for a few hours. Random times, too.
Does it look like it's gonna pounce at all? Or is it just watching?
Hard to say. You've just seen it in the airs.
Okay, we'll have a chat and we'll deal with this. Thanks. Keep safe.
Yeah, you as well, and then the spell.
I already hung up.
And he realizes that halfway through, and ends the spell.
Okay, guys. So I don't know what you guys did at that underground city thing when I left, but that red dragon elf guy has been flying around the keep for about 4 days now.
Oh,
For a few hours a day.
fuck.
What happened?
He had your orb, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he had the orb. You left the orb with him?
We were in no fit state to take it off him.
What happened to that other ish?
He went back. Oh.
Oh.
I look at Katu. Ah.
He's alive, isn't he?
He's alive. I mean, but
He is alive.
We didn't exactly treat him well, did we?
Yeah, you kind of used him as bait and threw him at a bunch of zombies.
And saved his life.
That's after using him as bait. but
After
But
endangering
also
him?
saving his life.
yes.
Hey man, I'm endangering you, but I'm saving you.
No, it's okay. Captain Ish obviously seemed like a very
Congratulations, you
gracious and
have been saved.
understanding and merciful person.
It says there's a
Mhm.
red dragon is flying around Chaos Karim. Shit.
Okay,
We
well,
might
look,
it's
need
gonna
to
take us like 2
they-
weeks to
consider
get back
abandoning the keep.
well, look, they at the keep are absolutely shitting themselves. They don't know what to do.
there. They can start making their way here.
How far away are we from Kesvikaranvib?
2 weeks.
Couple
Uh,
of days.
Isn't it?
Well, rough, like exact travel. Let me bring you guys to the map just
Because
so
we're
you
now
all
walking
can
the
see.
opposite direction, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes, but you're not too far outside of Shady Creek Run itself. So Case for Karam, as you can see, is here on the left side, that blue dot. It's about 8 days of travel to Shady Creek Run. It's faster if you're leading it, Kieran, because you carved out paths and such.
Oh yeah, no, don't we have that travel time's reduced by half, right? Because of me.
While you're leading the party, I would say it still gives some advantage to the others if they're making their way because the paths are there, the trails are blazed.
Yeah, because we
but
spoke
it'll still
about
be
this. I'm pretty
slow.
sure we spoke about this.
Yes,
We'll have to go back and re-speak.
it will still be a little slower, but they can make it. It would probably be around like 6 days or so to get to Shady Creek Run from there.
Can we really give up Chaos Karim though?
Split the party, split the party. Do 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 do. Okay, well, look, we can either keep going after these Iron Shepherds, or we go back to Case. I mean, either way, like.
Or we could bring Chaos here, as it were.
What? What?
The people from
And
Chaos.
where are you
Not the
gonna
full-
put them?
There are
We'll
deserted
have-
farmhouses all around Shady Creek.
That's a start, yeah. There's also.
But
If we
please
manage to-
just remember, they all of them are there because the Raven Queen's
I know.
essence is there.
I know.
Not all of them.
Okay,
Nice.
Talia. Who else? Erin.
Zamara. Oh no, she went
Okay,
to the
cool.
druids.
Okay, so 2 people out of how many now? It's been a while since I've been back.
There's a good few there now.
And they're all devout servants of the Raven Queen now? Is that right, Katu?
I believe so.
And that other guy, who was that other guy again?
Kerwig,
Carrick?
Kerwin,
Carrick.
Kerwig.
Eric. Eric.
Yeah, you have around like a dozen or so of the matrons faithful, just various acolytes and such who have come there. You have Carrick himself, you got Aaron and Talir, Zamara, and that's about
We
it.
also have to remember it's the whole importance to the Raven Queen, blah blah blah.
No,
Yes,
I know.
exactly.
No, that's why I don't want to. I don't want to give. Okay, fine. Look, it's going to take us what 4 days to get there at least, with Kira
4 to
leading
6.
the party. Okay, 4 to 6. We're here now. Should we keep going for today and then head back tomorrow if we don't find anything?
What time of the day is it?
Early.
Like 9 o'clock, something like that.
It's been a few hours of travel, so it's early afternoon.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't imagine a day's
I mean,
delay would make too much of a difference depending on how addictive forever's going to be.
Well, that dragon has been overhead every day for a few hours at least.
I mean, but that's
This
if it's going to take us 4 to 6 days to get back there anyway, is what I'm saying. So, like, if he decides to attack within those 4 to 6 days, regardless, we can't do anything. We're here now at the Iron Shepherds, or, you know, in the general area.
What they said
Yeah.
is they would just go down to the basements.
Well, they could do that, yeah.
and what is in the basements? Oh wait, no, Zay wouldn't know this, unless we talked
Oh,
about
you
it.
would've-
Would or wouldn't? You've been down there, haven't you?
I died.
Yeah, you came back, but you came back to the thing before.
Okay, if we talked
back
about
up.
it, remember what we were told. The power to change and defy fate sits at the bottom there, and we
Mhm.
have a red dragon with an orb that craves constant power that harbors an entity yearning for entry into our plane. Now, the Iron Shepherds are, for the better part of my life, the main focus of my vengeance, but there are bigger things at play here right now.
The Empire's
Us not
also
going to the
coming.
Shepherds now is not as bad as if the dragon gets into the basement at the keep.
Yeah, but if the dragon's going to attack, he can do it. Like, one day's not going to make a difference if he attacks tomorrow.
I know,
One day's
but
it'll make it.
you
it
know
will
what I
make a
mean.
difference.
I know what you mean. There's bigger things at play, but we also have this is tied to Antoinette, which is tied
Look,
to the Empire coming to the run.
I am going back to Case for Calm. Join me or don't.
Kata will go back as well.
They'll go back.
Fine.
I mean, I agree with Noodle, or I agree with.
I also agree with Noodle.
But like, if it's an
However-
ultimatum,
There are people who are depending on us over there. They've
Yeah,
been trying to get hold of
we-
us for days, and we've been inside that fucking maze.
Like-
That's more important in my mind.
Okay.
all right, crazy travel time it is.
You stand on the precipice of this quest. In the southwest, the southeast edges of this forest, following the trail, you can feel you're close, Kieran. Some sense of instinct. You don't know that, but somehow you feel it. But having heard this message from Talir, hearing the imperative in his voice, you feel like you should go back. It will be a few days of travel, but you'll be able to make it a little quicker thanks to your your adept knowledge of the terrain and your experience over the last few weeks ranging it out and scouting. Okay. So you're all heading there straight away?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
How long do you think it's going to take to find anything here?
If anyone would like to make a... Kieran, you can make another survival check for me if you want.
Oh my fuck.
I'll give him advantage on that.
Ooh, thank you. Nope. Well, bit better.
15. You do feel like you're pretty close. Along the way, you've caught a couple of other trails heading in roughly the same direction, and they're starting to converge just a little bit. So you get the sense you're starting to approach the source of them, and it may not be too long. And you rolled a fucking 26 on your first roll, so you're fairly confident that you have not been led falsely.
Mm-hmm. Look, Marsh, we can come back. I know where. I have a feeling of where it is now. I won't forget that.
It's not. I understand we're on time limitation with the dragon circling Chaos Vicarum. I am aware of this. But it is going to take us 4 to 6 days to get back there. And we are also on a time limit with Antoinette. How long can she hold out? We are going to be gone for 2 weeks. More or less. Is she going to be able to hold out for 2 weeks? Do we come back to an army of Jagantoths armed with enchanted rifles and armor and automatons on their side, taking over the city?
So,
Well, they would.
a magically armed army versus a reality destroying.
You say
Shape-shifting
reality. You
dragon.
don't know it's reality destroying. You're assuming that based on the orb, but the orb hasn't actually destroyed any reality. It's manipulated certain things based on its power. But
Yeah,
at no point is it fully manipulated. Like,
I'm assuming if it gets into the basement, it's gonna absolutely fuck everything.
I mean,
it will.
the dragon is
that power.
the dragon is pretty powerful. It could
the
well be
dragon a
able
dragon
to hold
or
off.
an elf?
It's
Did we
a
establish
combo.
that?
It's a combo.
It's
Yeah,
a
is
combo.
It's a 2-in-1,
Well,
mate.
you don't know what its original form is. If it's an elf that turned into a dragon, or a dragon that could turn into an elf.
There's the dragon form, like spell end there, and then there's dragons can polymorph, so we don't actually know what it is.
No, we don't.
It
That
could
is
be
an
either or.
impression
You'd have
of
to
it.
research.
Kata's impression of it was that this was a highly powerful and arrogant being who, quite frankly, could just be being vindictive. I think it's more likely he's just pissed off that we mistreated one of his servants than has been fully taken over in the short time we've been away by an orb. Like, he's lasted probably thousands of years at this point. Hundreds, anyway.
Yeah, but that orb knows about Case for Karma, knows about what's underneath.
Does it?
Yeah,
It does.
I assume
It does.
you showed it, Kieran.
Well, it was with me when we went in.
Yeah.
and it was talking to me how it wanted to use that to control Zale's dead body or something along those lines.
That was the vibe we got off you then. Okay, look, I'm not.
Look,
I'm not
to be honest,
frustrated
like,
with the decision to go back to the castle. I'm just frustrated with another fucking thing coming up.
Yeah.
When we've got
No, it's like
when we've
we're
got
about to do
multiple
this.
fucking spinning plates on at the moment, and now is another plate to be spinning, and it's just we've just come from Cairns Vicarum. It's been 5 fucking days apparently, and shit's hit the fan in those 5 days, and it's like, can we not just leave you alone for 2 minutes without shit hitting the fan? You know?
it has been 2 minutes. It's been 5
Do
days.
you know
and
what I
that can
mean, though?
happen.
Like, 5 days is not a long amount of time, man. Like, can't
Well-
get shit done.
We can message them and say the ones that do want to leave should consider rallying up and making their way to Shady
Do
Creek.
we have means of actually messaging them?
Do they have means of getting through here by themselves?
Yeah, I know.
Can we establish like a partial trade route or something? Oh no, that was,
I
we talked about
established
it.
markers, but they still can be easily missed by the untrained eye.
Everything's fucked.
Okay, let's go to the castle. It is.
I
the
hate
more-
you, Bub. I don't.
It is the more important thing. We have to stop Darko from getting into that room. We have to stop the dragon from getting into that room.
Antoinette can wait as long as we need her to wait. If she gets pissed off, that's on her.
It's not that she's pissed off. What if they break through?
Well, then she'll die protecting her knowledge, I guess.
I suppose so. We got rid of the chamber at least, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You
I hate
could.
this. I want to do both.
You could. I mean, I don't want to railroad you or anything, but there are means of teleportation. You don't have any at your immediate disposal, but you know there's a circle there underneath the keep. You could
Yeah, but
find a way to access that.
we do not know if anyone's
Oh.
close to
And-
Shady.
Antoinette teleported us here. Maybe.
Is Antoinette powerful enough to create her own circle?
She cast fucking disintegrate. She should be able to.
True. But this would be creating a circle from scratch. I don't know how the network works. If she can just do some sigils and it's like, yep.
As
new
long as
tube
one of
station.
us knows the circle, I think. How would I know that, actually? Would Moorish know that?
Make an Arcana check.
While he's doing that, did Talir was sending stones Talir used, or what was he using to communicate with Kieran? Sending stones.
He was using the sending spell, which I modified slightly. Normally, you can only exchange like one 25-word message there, and then you get another one back. But that's a little tedious, so he was using the sending spell.
I basically just put my fingers into like a phone thing, and then I hung up like at the very end by closing the fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, Morris, with a 13, you know that the creation of a permanent circle requires someone to cast the 5th level spell, Teleportation Circle, 365 times in a row every day at the same location.
Yeah.
Which probably a little beyond anyone's means in the immediate moment. You also might be able to surmise that there is a possibility that Jabanes could have their own circle. You don't know that, but it's a logical conclusion that you could possibly make given their power.
Okay, so hear me out. Give it a day. 1 day. Let's see what we can do. If not, we head back to the castle. If we can't get Antoinette to somehow teleport us, if we can go back to her with something and offer it as a bargaining as we need to go there now, and then we'll be back to finish the job.
Seems
How
a
close
reasonable
do
compromise.
Sorry, how close do I feel the nest thing is?
With your 15 survival, you feel like you're on the right path. You feel like you should be able to find it relatively soon. Within a day seems reasonable, but you don't know have an exact estimate.
If we find out that we could have been in there, we could have been back there in time to save them, and they're all fucked, I'm holding you responsible for that.
Fine. I mean,
Alright.
what if we get there and it happened today? Or, later on? We can't unless
If they were
and
if
do-
they were attacked today and we get back within 6 days, we could have saved more people than when we have gone back in 7 days.
Okay, but if we do something today and get a teleportation back there tomorrow, and find out it got attacked today, either way, there's nothing we could have done.
If actually,
Good,
so
and
hold
could
on.
Antoinette- oh, sorry.
Verb.
Yes.
Seeing as I was in the Trebayne army during the attack, do I know why wouldn't they just use that circle to teleport inside the castle if they had a circle?
You would not know. You don't really.
I would not. Okay.
You were not with them for long enough and don't really have that kind of insight.
Cool. No worries.
Without
Look,
the
I'm not-
circle, would Antoinette be able to target the circle?
As long as someone knew the circle she was drawing.
No, like, could she target, like, Chaos? No, she would have to know where Chaos Picarum is to send us via support, wouldn't she?
She'd have to be familiar with it in some respect, otherwise we could have some sort of fucking mishap.
I hate this. I
Yeah.
really hate this.
Yeah.
If we don't find the castle within a day, I'm turning back.
Yep, fine. I agree.
Pushing on?
Go on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Alrighty.
Make-
One day.
We'll consult
day.
Antoinette and see if she can assist in getting us to the keep. If we explain the situation, maybe she'll be helpful.
Let's see what we can find, if we can find anything. If not, we'll go to her later on tonight and speak to her, and if she won't help us, we'll set off first thing.
Kieran, make a survival check for me. You're last.
Helping him as usual. Not that he needs it.
Let's see if I get a crit. I do
Entirely
not,
possible.
but it is
No,
higher.
but it is higher. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty damn good. Following these same trails, these convergent tracks, moving in the same direction. They twist and they turn a bit, and you do notice in some of the ways that the tracks twist around, there are now traps buried in the soil, in the ground under piles of leaves, snares nearby. Some of them designed to incapacitate or harm, but alarmingly, most of them seem like noisemakers, designed to alert people to the presence of intruders. But still, it's a promising sign that you're getting closer. You continue to move, and now you follow the lines of one of these noisemakers, snaking through the tree line above, through the canopies, shooting off. It is a solid from the last check to this one, maybe 2.5 hours of walking. Most of these traps that you see are in that very last stretch. And eventually, after coming up a slope of ground, gaining some elevation, moving up through trees and hills and rocks, you come to a bluff, a high cliff overlooking. And you see, some distance a little bit below you, a stone fort nestled in this clearing among the trees. It is overgrown with ivy and moss. A road does lead out from the front gate of it, which is closed right now. You see the ruts of wagon wheels carved into it that disappear into the tree line, the trees pressing in as if to hide over that road. You seem to have come across some kind of lesser used trail that is perhaps a little more incognito than their main thoroughfare. Supplies have to get here somewhere. That main road is probably it, but you did not find that road. Instead, you found one of their lesser paths, and you look up, look down on the keep from here. It is now around. It's evening, early evening. The sun is on its downward descent, not close to setting yet, but it will be soon enough.
How far away are we from it?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe about 500 feet.
Alright. Well, here we are. Do we go in now or later?
Can we see anything? Any people moving at all?
Make a perception check.
Ugh, no. First bad roll of the evening.
That is unfortunate, but Kieran's eyes are as sharp as ever as he looks through and looks around. And there are indeed guards on the walls. You see two groups of two doing a perpetual circle around the walls, moving and then eventually They never quite meet. They seem to start at opposite corners and just move in a clockwise pattern over and over and over and over through the walls. You get the sense that must be a very boring job to be that guard on the wall.
Hmm.
There are also some groups of people in the central courtyard behind, within the walls. You see a cart currently being unloaded of supplies, barrels and crates being pulled off, some of them being opened, and even from this distance, your eyes are keen, and you can see there are foodstuffs in there, restocking the keep, it seems. A small group in the central courtyard is training, swords and knives flashing as they spar. All in all, you're looking at maybe a dozen people, at least visible on
Easy.
the outside here.
Okay.
Just on the outside.
All right. So dozen on the out, maybe more on the in.
Definitely more.
Probably have rotating shifts.
Okay. The sneaky pair of you. How long would it take to get 500 feet? A couple minutes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, not too long. There's a bit of, you have to go downward. You're on the top of this cliff right now looking down over the keep, so you'd have to find a way down. But...
Ish and Kieran, come here, please.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to cast invisibility on the pair of you, and you're going to go and scout it out.
I don't need it.
It will give you an hour's worth of invisibility, and I can
Ignore
do
him.
I can
Cast it.
I can do it on 2 people regardless, so you may as well. I'm going to cast invisibility on Kieran and Punisher.
Hopefully, don't do it. Okay.
Like, I have to roll it at 3rd level, so you may as well go invisible.
Where is my invisible token? Do I have one? God.
No, it's invisible. You can't find it, Vib.
I guess that's true.
Hmm.
Sure. That's more like blinded, but whatever. Close enough. Conveys the same idea. Okay. Easy enough. How are you getting down? Well, you know what? We're about 5 minutes out from closing our session. I feel like we're at a good point here, and you all can use the downtime in the interim to plan and discuss and probably moan a little bit. So let's call our session here. As you stand here over the cliff looking down on this keep, and just as Morris touches the shoulders of Kieran and the Punisher and they turn invisible.
Well, I have a feather fall ring, so I can carry Kieran down.
I guess that's true.
I'll fall. I'll just fall. It's fine.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Verb.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that was a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks,
There's a lot.
Verb.
Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you on the
You're
next one.
welcome.
Bye.
I both love you